What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the True Gamer Podcast, the podcast hosted by two gamers for you, the true gamers. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my bro, the inverted gamer himself, Sheps. How's it going? You're actually wearing the t-shirt this time.
I'm wearing a t-shirt.
I just noticed that, even though we had like 20 minutes of conversation before this.
Yes.
There we go. That's it. Support
yeah.
that much. Check out the links in the description, guys. Check it out.
I was about to wear that shirt too.
It's good stuff. Are you inverted, Tyler?
You know that. You know I'm inverted. That was like one of our first podcasts.
He's upside down and inverted, so therefore he's correct again.
It works out. Yeah.
Interesting.
That voice that you're hearing right there is our son, of course. It is take your son to work day to day. Tyler, how's it going, bro? Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Obviously, we know you're not my father, and we also have worked out that you're not the father of Isla either. That we do know.
That's Patreon exclusive.
So it's weird. It's weird for you to say you're anyone's dad.
Listen,
when you're taking pills for your dick, and that's a fact, ladies and gentlemen. I know you don't know that, but that's a real fact. I'm not making that up.
Again, Conbrosations podcast for as little as $1 a month.
Yeah, you can find out all about that story. Listen, Tyler, me and your father.
I'm very fond of Shep's mum, so I don't. If anyone's dad, you know what I mean?
Tyler.
Let's just be honest with ourselves.
Me and your father have been doing this for a very long time now. It's about time you come round to the relationship and call me dad, and we all just have a nice, happy family together. Sunday dinners are much better if you just accept it. I mean,
Right. Okay. Now,
your
what's
dad
my
would probably
mother's
beat the
name?
fuck out of me. No, your dad.
Oh.
Not your no, sorry. Your mother.
Oh, my dad.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah, my dad would whoop your fuck. He's 56 years old, and he will fuck you up.
I bet he would.
There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, there's not a doubt in my mind about that. He's a military man. He's still in the military. And he's a fucking savage. So,
he's the kind of guy now that I'm going to, if I ever meet him, I'll be like, I hope he hasn't heard anything. Give him a handshake. And he gives a stern handshake because he's a fucking military man. He's a guy. And I'm like, shit, do you think he did hear about them? That's why he's like giving me such a stern handshake?
It's funny because like, neither of us can relate to what it's like having parents that love you. So obviously they don't listen to our content, but he might be totally different.
Exactly. This
is the wrong podcast for this stuff. This is a gaming podcast.
Yes, this is a game podcast. Tyler, thank you for joining us on the True Gamer Podcast today. We're going to talk a little bit about gaming. I know that's not really your forte. In fact, nothing is.
No.
It's not your forte. It's not your passion. You'll just read whatever's put in front. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's a reference to the G4 woman. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Anyway.
But this is the True Gamer Podcast. Welcome, everybody, to another episode. We've got a lot to talk about today. We're one special question that I sort of come up with. It's come up in the community, and I feel like it'd be a good discussion to have about Game Pass, PlayStation, and stuff like that. We're going to be talking a bit about Horizon Forbidden West. It's coming out, so we're going to talk about our hype levels, what we're expecting, what we're not expecting. I know Tyler's a big Horizon Zero Dawn fan. You not so much, so this is going to be extra interesting. All kinds of stuff like that. But before we get started into that, we have a special group of people to thank. Our super bros who support us over at patreon.com/.
Patreon.com/, as always. Thank you.
Wow,
that's for making the show happen.
Cut his mic.
I've got our producers here that I just want to thank.
Motherfucker, get off my podcast. We're going to mute him.
The audio file. We're just the whole time.
I'm the one editing this, I'm just going to cut you out. Those super bros are.
Sorry, guys.
Those super bros are Diogo Dildo, Isak the Ultimate Cumsock, Sabine from Smallville, the Star Wars Encyclopedia, Adam Sunling, Jeremy. Sorry, I'm ill. I can't help it. I'm so sorry.
Only the Spirit, only Avery Dobbs, Clark 53.
Hey, shut up! None of that.
This guy.
Those guys.
How does he know it as well? He knows
it.
I think he has it in front of him.
Nothing about this podcast.
Fuck him. Fuck all the as always people. That's it. The Star Wars Encyclopedia, Adam Sunling, Jeremy Renner. That's right, an official Avenger. Super Sus Ben Fryer, the $69 tier, bro. Nice.
Legend.
The Ultimate Splodare, Adam, the High Quality Potato. The Filthy Thief Fanatic, Joe McCormack. My Juicy Lefner. The Super Sexy Producer, Sean. Big Boy, Billy. Catspa, the Friendly Patron. The Gamer from Gaming Shire, Dave Bindis. Chris, the Artiste. Rick, the hentai dwarf, Master Chief himself, Albiscory, and Kevin, the #1 simp. of Xbox. Thank you guys so much for keeping the lights and mics on and the gaming going here at Conbrosations. Bro, did you know about our pause?
Yeah, what the fuck was that pause just there?
First of all,
What the fuck was that?
it's
I thought you just
still
cut out. I was sitting there
funny.
looking, I'm like, did my internet cut out? What the fuck just happened?
We got him as well.
Was that intentional?
Yeah, that's
Was that
intentional. We
Dude,
do-
that was so fucking weird. I was like looking at my fucking broadband. I was like, have I just my computer disconnected?
It's not the top of the hour.
Yeah, I'm like, that's weird.
We
do
do
I was
that.
very confused.
We do that to fuck with all the audio people who are listening on
The
podcast
audio
services.
virgins, yeah.
They like listening in the car. They got like a bus full of like, I don't know, gravel or nuns or whatever the fuck they're carrying or whatever that be. And then they're just like,
Yeah.
the fuck happened? Let me just pull over to the side of the road and check
Right,
out what's
right.
going on. And yeah, it fucks with people all the time. Even the people that know about
Oh,
it,
yeah.
they're like, oh, I just needed to check to make sure, like I needed to refresh my stream or something
right,
like
right.
that.
But-
Anyway, great bit.
I was
You guys
thinking
are so fucking
hilarious. Thank you.
Like,
you.
I was
honestly.
thinking as well, because we got Tyler here and we'll have his reaction on video. You were gonna let it go for like a minute.
I was like, he's gonna come in any second,
Yeah,
but I was
and
like,
then he
what-
didn't.
does he know about it?
I can't wait to see the video
I
of the
was
confusion.
sitting there in silence, going like, "Do I say something? Are they talking?" And I just can't hear them, and I've sort of cut off. And I was just sitting there about to say, "Can you guys hear me?" Like I was like, "What the fuck?"
Gonna be hilarious to
didn't.
see the video.
That
Gonna be
will be
hilarious to
good.
see the video. That's gonna be funny.
I
Yeah,
mean,
so
I don't
that's
think
what
it'll be
we're
as funny as you think. It's sort of just me looking. Like
It's more for-
I keep my cool.
Us, frick everybody
Yeah,
who watches us and pays for exclusive content. Frick
Exactly.
them. It's
Well,
more
there's,
about-
there's
it's a
as,
joke for
as many
us.
people as are in the room with you, other people that listen that aren't you.
This freaking
So
guy.
That's just to make
This
it
freaking
clear
guy.
for you.
After we
guys.
carry his business,
Exactly. The whole FPN, we're carrying it on our backs. We've got bad backs and bad
Right.
knees because of
it's
it.
true.
God damn it.
This freaking
Right.
guy.
Okay.
Anyway,
How so?
today
How's
we're
that?
gonna be
with,
talking.
with what's the show you do?
Oh wow! How dare you? How dare you, sir? The Streamcast, the one that the
Sorry.
flagship
Oh,
of the FPN.
I will.
Oh,
Let me just put this to bed really quickly.
See, I'll tell you why I was confused because see, there's a thing we do on the Four Pillars Network like yearly.
Is it
that
the
we've
Four Pillars
decided-
podcast
it's
that
like-
you all turn up to regularly? Is it that one?
Yeah,
Anyway, this
it
is a gaming
It
podcast.
It's actually
What are
it's one of
topics
that-
for
no, but
today?
It's more. If you know a lot about TV networks, I know you guys don't. You've never done any good business in your lives. But
fucking guy.
what we do on the Four Pillars Network is with like a TV show season, it gets renewed or it doesn't. And here's the thing: I haven't told you guys, you didn't get renewed.
Oh
thank
shit!
God.
This
You know
is
what I
where he told us.
Wow.
didn't
Our
get
annual performance
renewed.
review is when he told us, like, "Yep, it's not working out."
You didn't get renewed, guys. I'm sorry.
Well, if anyone's looking to pick up Streamcast, feel free to message us at
Oh
sheps
no
at
no no no
gmail.com.
no no! Yeah, no. Streamcast got renewed. Just your contracts didn't.
I feel like this is going to be a Top Gear
You've taken
thing.
our IP.
We're the
Yeah.
Top
Well,
Gear
we
boys,
always-
and
well,
you're going to get Matt
always
LeBlanc
owned it.
on, and it's just going to, it's not going to be the same. Anyway, fuck you, Tyler. What are our topics for today?
Thank you for bringing that news to us right here on our live show. Thank you very much.
That's okay.
Yeah, so guys, today we're going to be talking, as I said, a lot about a lot of cool gaming things that's happening in the world right now. We've got some news about The Rock as well, joining a movie, and we're going to try and guess which movie that is.
Yeah.
But first of all, we're going to kick it off with...
Fuck about The Rock.
Well, this is the thing. There's some... Depending on what you think it might be interesting, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Now,
Okay.
last week, we spoke about the whole earth that shattered open and just the whole tectonic plates moved around about Microsoft purchasing Activision Blizzard.
Yep.
It was a big thing in the gaming industry. Tyler, did you have any sort of feelings about it? Did you know about it? Do you want to give us your take on the whole situation?
Look, it's a bit. I find it really hard to celebrate a bunch of pieces of shit making a fuckload of money, which is
Yeah.
what happened at the end of the day. Because Activision Blizzard obviously under a lot of scrutiny in the past 12 months for their toxic work environment, one of the worst all time that we do know. And they've then gone out, from what I've heard, is they're the ones that approached Microsoft for the purchase because because of that fact. So they're like, let's cash the fuck out, fuck this, because obviously they're not going to be the ones to fix the work culture. So they've just filled their pockets and gotten the fuck out.
That's
so
the sick part.
Yeah.
The overarching narrative of it, it makes me sick, to be totally honest. But in terms of if you're someone that plays Xbox and has Game Pass, obviously it's pretty wild. But is one company owning a bunch of these publishers a good thing? Only time will tell.
They used to call that a monopoly.
Disney of gaming. Yeah, exactly, monopoly. So I don't know. I don't know whether that's good or bad. I think, I do like Phil Spencer, and I like what he said about what their plan is and giving some freedom to the developers and all the studios that are under that umbrella.
Yeah, nice words.
And maybe not all of them. Yeah, nice words. Does that translate into action? Phil Spencer's a man that said a lot of things over a lot of years, and if I'm being honest, not a lot's happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's as soon as you brought that up, let me touch on that, because that was something I wanted to bring up actually. Is when after the whole acquisition went through, obviously he made a lot of. I personally don't like Phil Spencer. Sheps, do you like Phil Spencer?
No, really.
I don't like him because he's more of a politician, I find, than
That's
an actual
exactly
person. He speaks just like a politician speaks, like, I'm going to bring change, and then nothing happens.
Right.
Or he says all the buzzwords, and then that nothing happens.
Yeah.
And that's all he really does, because what games have we got in the past, like, decade that are noteworthy? Halo Infinite recently and Forza. And then after that, it's nothing. Anyway, that aside, he said, we're gonna look into maybe reviving things like Spyro and Crash and whatnot, and bringing the new IPs to them, and people got really excited because those are loved IPs. But I'm like, hold on a second, you're saying this, but you've had things like Rare with Banjo-Kazooie that you keep bringing
That's
up,
my
Sheps,
big one, yeah.
and you've done absolutely nothing with it for how many years you've had it. Why should we believe that this IP, which is exactly similar to the thing, that you would do anything there?
I mean,
I think it's just words again.
It bugs me because good example. They already own Banjo-Kazooie. They already own Rare. They own Banjo-Kazooie. They could have done that as a test. Banjo-Kazooie would have banged, by the way. In the last couple of years, people would have, lapped that up, and that would have been a proof of concept instead of spending $75 billion to acquire some of the biggest.
And even if it didn't bang per se, even if it was like a niche thing, Microsoft's whole thing right now is we're for the gamers. We don't care about money. We don't care about what we spend. So why haven't you done it? It's so hard to get excited about something that you're saying you're going to do over here when pretty much the exact same type of IP you have, and you have done nothing with it.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me.
It's weird.
Anyway, that's a bunch of things that happened. Just to give you our take on it, Tyler, we was more on the side of, it's obviously there's good sides to it where, like, it's a good business move because Activision makes a ton of money, and that's good for Microsoft. A bit like when they purchased Mojang, tons of money from selling Minecraft and things like that. That's a good move. However, what that's going to do to the industry, possibly going to be a bad thing. Like, what is Sony now going to do to this, to respond to this? Should they respond to this? Should they stay where they are? Should they go out and make their own big third-party purchase? And then it becomes sort of like a race to see who can lap up all of the third-party publishers until it's just first-party exclusives on each side. And then you kind of have to buy 2 consoles in order to enjoy anything that you like, because chances are something's going to be on the other side and you're going to be over here. And then it just becomes crap.
I just don't think Sony has the same business model as Xbox. And what I mean by that is I don't think they are the same sort of game developers. So I don't think that'll happen. Like, they're not making the same products anymore. It's not game versus game, tit for tat type thing.
Agreed.
Like, what Sony seemed to do, especially with their first party, to give, like, I guess, a movie studio sort of difference, Microsoft is starting to look like Disney. They own your Star Wars, they own Marvel and all these different properties, and they just bought Fox, all this sort of shit. And when I look at Sony, I look at more like, I don't know, maybe it's not a great comparison, but certainly not as big a conglomerate as Disney, but like a HBO.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, not HBO now, but like HBO like 5 to 10 years ago. Where every show they put out it wasn't a lot of shows, but every show fucked. So hard. And that's what it feels like. And that's what it feels like. Sony are about making the highest quality experiences, and they don't need to be pumping out something every week to you. Whereas Microsoft seem like they just want to own everything and be dropping shit for free once a week to you, like a streaming service would. And then, it's like a streaming service versus the cinema almost now. Sony, you're buying a ticket to the cinema to see a Martin Scorsese film. And with Microsoft, you're on Netflix watching the latest Ryan Reynolds Swapper movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Sheps
that's
said
what it feels like, with the greatest respect to Ryan Reynolds, because I love him.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah.
Sexiest
Sheps
man
said
alive.
that-
It's funny you picked Disney, because I did the exact same thing, but I picked Disney versus Sony in the movies, and then you have like Black Widow versus No Way Home.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like one's quality, one's got, you know, other stuff going, and I am a little bit worried that they will end up like a Sony, because we've seen what they've done with certain IPs, like say Star Wars, which, although I've enjoyed the newer movies, they're not good.
They're not what you.
They're lacking.
Well, no,
soul.
they're not good.
They're not. The only good thing is Kylo. So, but aside from that, like, you see what they do with those sort of IPs, and that's what happens when you basically have no competition. And this has always been my big worry, which is that.
Sorry, no, just keep talking. I was just moving it a little closer to you, Mike. Sorry.
My big worry has just been that without appropriate competition, like I didn't want Sony to PlayStation to kill off the Xbox, because my darkest timeline is that does happen, or did happen, and then Sony stops producing bangers because there's no Xbox nipping at their heels, you know?
Yeah.
It looks like it's gone the other way in terms of company size. I still think, like Tyler said, we don't have to worry about the quality of games.
Yeah.
I think Sony should make a few smart decisions. Like, it wouldn't hurt for them to pick up from, you know? But other than that, like, they have their model. Xbox or Microsoft, they know the model, they have the recipe, they've done internal, you must have all seen that document where they break down like why The Last of Us was so good and all that shit.
Have you heard about that, Tyler, where Microsoft did an internal investigation in their studios and reviewed The Last of Us Part 2 and said it was like a masterpiece? This is the kind of stuff that we need to make.
Oh no, I did not see that.
It's very interesting.
It came out in the Apple versus Epic case and whatnot. It was one of the internal things that was never meant to see the light of day, but they were honest.
It's a really good breakdown, actually. It's really, whoever deconstructed it has a good understanding of what the hooks were for I think it was The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
And so they know that's they know that's what they should be making, and that was in 2019,
something like that. Yeah.
They know it. They're not going to do it. It's not their model, which is, it's a thing.
See, Shep said when we discussed this, Shep said they should just stay the course and continue on their make quality games, foster these great relationships with third parties or smaller studios, make good games as you normally do, and if something turns out to be great and you see potential in the studio, bring them on board and then give them the funding and then do so like Sony have been doing all this time, and it's been working out fantastic for them. And from what you're saying, it sounds like you're saying they should do the same thing, right, Tyler?
Yeah, more or less. That's what I think.
I agree that that's what should happen. However, I feel like this is such a big move that Sony might get tricked into doing something, and they've already started with the rumors of the PlayStation Spartacus, the Game Pass competitor, which Game Pass, its model isn't a successful model as of yet. You need a lot of subscribers to go through, which means that Sony, when they start off with this Game Pass competitor, if it's any good, they're going to be losing money up front, money that could go to another developer, could go to another project, could go to something, and then it's taking them off of the track that we're trying to say they should stick to. So, if they're already doing that, could they then get tricked into buying a massive publisher? Could they get tricked into buying Square Enix, Capcom, Sega all down the line, and then we go to that dark future where there are no third parties anymore? It's just two companies now, It
is weird because they do seem very easily led by Microsoft, or at least they were last couple of years. Like Phil Spencer's, everything we produce for the next 2 years will be on every console. That's easy to do when you don't make any games.
Yeah.
And that's going to affect God of War and Horizon, for better or for worse. So the other thing is that like Game Pass isn't a good. I think we can say it's not a good business because it's been 6 years it's been out.
I think it's 5. It might be coming up to 6 now.
5, let's say 5 to 6. It has lost money.
Really?
Yeah, and it's lost money consistently the entire time. The only reason, if it were a business, it would have gone under in about 6 months. If it was an independent thing.
Yeah.
It
June 1st, 2017.
2017.
So
it's coming 5 years.
Coming up on 5 years, yeah.
So it's 5 years old. It is doing nothing but losing money. The only reason it's even, I was going to say viable, the only reason it still exists is because Microsoft just can foot an unlimited bill.
Yes.
And by their own numbers, they're losing users, and they need to get to 53 million to break even. Correct?
So that was an old number.
Yeah.
That was a number prior to the Bethesda acquisition. They said there was a internal, somebody said, in order for us to find profitability based on the amount of people that are paying and not paying and stuff like that, the average number, we'd need around about 50 million subscribers to break even. Then they purchased Bethesda, and all of those games cost money, so now that must go up. And now they've purchased Activision, so it's going to go even higher.
I'm willing
it's impossible.
I'm willing to call it at that old number. They need 50 million users to like start making money by their own, and they've added costs and stuff like that now from these massive purchases. And from their own releases, they were losing users. So I think it's okay to say it's not a good business model. I'm not saying people on Game Pass are doing anything wrong, or that it doesn't have its own value proposition, but just that it is not a good business. But the idea of having access to an old library of games isn't in and of itself a bad one. So I don't see any... It's not necessary that Sony loses money with Spartacus if what they do is say, it's access to our old library of games, and no day and date stuff, because that's incredibly... I think that's a really toxic thing. It's great if you don't have a lot of money as a gamer. Like, I understand it. But overall, it's bad for the space, I think. But if you make it like an old access to a library and a few other features, I don't think it's that bad. I mean, there's millions of people on PS Now and PS Plus, and you're not really getting anything for it.
Yeah. I have to see how this turns out. Right now, it's all just... Do you know about the rumored tiers that are coming out for this PlayStation competitor to Game Pass, Tyler?
No, I don't. I am out of the loop with this stuff. I thought I was in the loop, but I don't know about this Sony stuff.
Don't worry, this is like just rumors right now, and it's only been mentioned once, so it's not a big thing. And apparently, it's supposed to be announced any day now. It's spring 2022. They said they were going to announce it, and we only got that news at the very, very, very end of 2021. So it's very interesting. The tier system is that it's going to be a Game Pass competitor. It's going to combine PlayStation Now, the streaming service, with PlayStation 3 games, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, and PlayStation 4 games, in with PlayStation Plus, the subscription that you pay just to go online. And it's going to be 3 tiers. The first one is just PlayStation Plus to get online, nothing special, nothing extra there. The second tier is going to come with a large catalog, they say, of PS4 games that you don't have to pay anything extra for. You just get included in the subscription. And eventually it says PS5 games, so not included straight away, no day and date stuff. And on the third tier, you'll get all of that stuff, plus you'll get access to PS3 games from the PlayStation Now store, PS2 and PS1 games and PSP games all together, if you want to play all those old games again. No idea on price.
Patreon? Is this fucking Patreon on PlayStation?
It basically sounds like it, right? With tiers and stuff like that. Now they haven't mentioned any prices or anything like that. And I think this thing sort of lives or dies by the way it's either priced and also the way they pitch it.
Yeah.
Because it sounds complicated right now, and I'm just like, you just needed to make one thing or two things, and then just that's it. As long as they pitch it right, it might work. But I don't know.
The current model, like with PS Plus, the collection that you get is massive.
Yeah, quite good quality.
So all they have to do is just sort of change the marketing to be like, with Spartacus, you get all of this and these games and this and this and this, plus access to this old library. Easy enough. I think it's not too difficult. And with games like God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Detroit Become Human, just absolutely massive bangers. I think you got enough. And the problem with Sony is they don't market any of these things. When was the last time you saw anything for PS Now?
Yeah, PS Now doesn't get marketed. I'm sure people listening are like, I've forgotten all about PS Now.
You can barely find it on the PlayStation store.
Yeah, they're really bad at marketing. Whereas Xbox are all marketing. To be fair, they don't have much else to show, but they do marketing very, very, very well.
They finally put out a game last year with Halo. That's like the
Right.
first game they put out on the fucking last 10 years. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is so ridiculous to think about, isn't it? Where it's like, and to think, this is the thing, when you go online, right, and you see those people in like the console wars, and they'll like, people are like simping on each other's side and whatnot. There's the worst people on each side,
of course.
But then I do have to ask the question, even the most sane people, I'm like, okay, why is it that you're really clinging on to Xbox? Because as far as I can tell, PlayStation has the great quality games, and they're producing games that are coming out. Anyway, that's just a little thing on the side. Don't worry about that thing right there. Anyway, that's the status right now. Since last episode, because we talked about it hot when it came out. There was questions. People were like, "What's going to happen to Call of Duty then? What's going to happen to Overwatch? What's going to happen to these big titles that were multi-platform? Are Microsoft just going to take it away and then PlayStation's just going to have to suck it up?" So Phil Spencer did come out and talk about Call of Duty. And I'm going to read you exactly what he said, and you guys can help me decipher exactly what he means. He said, "Had good calls this week with leaders at Sony. I confirmed our intent to honor all existing agreements upon acquisition of Activision Blizzard and our desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Sony is an important part of our industry and we value our relationship."
What a politician. Talking about their intent to do stuff. Not we're gonna. Our intent is to do this. What a politician.
The carefully worded words here. What do you take from that, Tyler? What do you take from that? I'm going to post the link for you guys.
I just want to sort of preface
Yeah,
this.
I
don't give a shit about COD. But it's more of as from the business perspective, it's one of the biggest things that Activision makes, that kind of thing.
That's the thing. And the thing is, while we say all the time, we don't like COD. We're not a COD guy anymore. We used to play
I haven't liked COD since Black Ops 1.
However, the numbers prove that COD is very popular.
Yeah.
Not by most the people that we like, not the gaming community that we're in, but it is very popular.
Yeah.
So we need to also think about the hundreds of millions of people that are not getting it. So what do you take from this, Tyler?
Yeah, look, I did see that that quote from Phil Spencer, and I had a good giggle at that. I thought to myself, well, it's the same thing that he meant when they had the Bethesda acquisition, which is, you know, anything that they're in development of right now, I'd say late stages, that they've already got marketing plans with, they've already had signed contract agreements for releases on the PlayStation. That's what they're honoring.
Yeah.
Anything that they can get out of, they will get out of. I promise you that.
For sure.
And I think the only franchise they'll continue to develop on the PlayStation is Call of Duty. I would be surprised if Call of Duty isn't always on the PlayStation going forward, because obviously that absolutely, you know, it sells hugely, and you'd be foolish not to with how many, you know, PlayStation consoles, both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, that are in, you know, the gamers' hands right now, and a lot of them, a large percentage of them, will be buying Call of Duty. But what you then do is you make those fans that are on the PlayStations that are paying full price for a COD realize they're like, yeah, cool, I'm paying. You know, this is my COD machine, you know, that a lot of the casual gamers have. They just buy the new consoles to have a COD machine and a few other games just to play with mates. But then they find out that they could have it you know, someone will be like, it's free. It's obviously you're paying a subscription.
Yeah.
Or you could get it for free right now with your Game Pass subscription, all these games. And eventually, I think they're playing a long game. And then when the next generation of consoles come, and people are making that decision, they're like, well, everything is on this one console and I don't have to pay for games anymore. Yeah, I'll jump on that. I think that's their mindset. I don't think it's going to work, and I truly think it'll backfire because Xbox are a bunch of losers, and that we do know.
That is a fact.
That's been proven over many years, and that's coming from a long time Xbox nut hugger. But I've been a Sony nut hugger for at least the last 2 years. I converted over to Sony. I made it official that I've left Xbox.
You've gone with the games,
you know.
I'm
now a man that plays Halo on a PC with a PlayStation 5 controller. That's who I am.
The way God intended.
Intended it to be. Like, I'm in the same boat. Like, I was a big Xbox guy. Like, I've always had PlayStations, but like in the OG days, like the 360 was the console to have. And The Last of Us was cool on the PS3, but it was about the only good thing on it. Everything else about the PS3 was tough, and I had both. I pushed really hard last gen for us to go to the Xbox One. It's a really good thing we didn't, because there would have been nothing to play.
Rise, son of Rome, excuse me.
I retract my statement.
There you go, thank you very much.
So it's just one of those things of like, I tend to agree with you, Tyler, that like COD will stay on everything because you're not going to get rid of like 150 million potential console or users. But then I expect there'll be like pretty savage exclusivity stuff, like DLC will be out a month to 3 months late, or there'll be only stuff you can get on the Xbox. But again, the model doesn't make sense because you can get 2 years of Game Pass for $1. How they're going to make any money, and the only time they'll actually make money in sales will be guys on Sony and on PlayStation, potentially PC buying stuff. So I don't see them getting rid of it. And I think, go on.
Oh, go on. You finish your sentence.
Just to like cap this out with the quality stuff. Did you ever play Deathloop, Tyler? Or you know about it?
Yeah, I know about Deathloop.
Yeah.
Well, I know of Deathloop. I don't
yeah.
actually think I even know about Deathloop. And I definitely haven't fucking played Deathloop. I didn't play one new game. I didn't play any game from start to finish in 2021. Played no game.
Well, it was a rough year for you.
It was a bit of a rough.
It was. It was. I wasn't focusing on. I've already finished 4 games this year, so the game is back. That's what I will say.
Right.
So the gamer is back.
The reason I bring it up is that it was made by Bethesda. Ed is acting out you having your heart pulverized. Right. It was produced by Bethesda under the direction of Sony. Basically, they commissioned the game from Bethesda, and it is possibly the best thing Bethesda has made in the last 7 years.
Yeah,
maybe longer.
Yeah.
And my point about like Sony versus Microsoft is that Bethesda clearly, from what they made with Deathloop, which I haven't played, but I've seen plenty of gameplay, I've seen plenty of reviews from people whose opinions actually matter, not journalists that played 20 minutes of it, is that the game is fine, it's not glitchy, it works, and it has a pretty decent story. It's an interesting take on the roguelike concept.
I enjoyed it.
And the whole point is that Bethesda has the talent, and what they didn't have was they have shit management. They made bad decisions. And that's exactly my thing with PlayStation, is that they're making all the right decisions when it comes to what is acceptable for a game. And they had Bethesda, a company that has done nothing but shit the bed for half a decade or more, produced this thing, and it came out working great. And that demonstrates to me that the decision making is the issue, not the talent. And the decision making is all on the Sony side.
Which is funny because we've said as well that like them being purchased by Microsoft doesn't really instill confidence in the management side of things, because how many studios have Microsoft shut down? How many projects have been cancelled? What have they done with the was it back in E3 2016 or 17 where they made all of those purchases for all those studios, and they made the Initiative, which was like a big studio. We haven't seen anything from any of those studios, and clearly their management is piss poor. And Halo Infinite, even that was
gonna say, like Halo Infinite was like 5 years or something in the making. Potentially, we're not 100% sure, but potentially a $500 million price tag. Those are like some rumors that it's hard to verify, but apparently like we can't be sure, but it was very expensive to make. Then required like down to baseline code reworking. Then when it came out, still had it has its own issues, and a lot of that is just 343. The fact that it wasn't all together, there's still no Forge, there's still no co-op, which is, if you ask me, part of Halo. As a Halo fan, you should know that. So it came out half done, basically, and in 2 parts. And then there are issues with the online stuff, like the progression and arguably predatory microtransactions. And so the last thing they actually did make wasn't complete, has significant issues.
There's problems all the way through.
And potentially came a massively inflated price tag. So
recently, in fact, yesterday, they announced in their financial quarters that Halo Infinite, just Halo Infinite all in general, the multiplayer and the campaign, has reached 20 million players.
Right.
The free-to-play game as well is included in that.
This
is of course it was. Oh yeah, no, of course it was.
Of course,
like I read that and I laughed. I was like, I love going, but. You're talking about this also the first Halo that people didn't have to pay a fucking cent for.
Yeah. They didn't have to pay anything for, and even the campaign was included in Game Pass, the cheapest way to ever get a Halo game producing. And also, if you compare it to other free-to-play games that have launched, like Call of Duty Warzone in the first month got 50 million, Apex Legends got 50 million as well in the first month, and that was with zero promotion because it was a shadow drop. It was just today Apex Legends is available. 20 million for one of the biggest IPs ever, Halo. And you only got to 20 million.
Yeah, it bugs me a lot.
Anyway, they can celebrate their little wins over there because it has been a hard time for a very long time for Microsoft.
Halo also doesn't matter anymore. That's the problem.
That's
the thing.
I agree with you, but I don't think I'm never going to be able to get away from it. Yeah. Like I'm never going to be able to drop Halo.
Me either. I mean, I would have if Infinite was as bad as 5. I would have. I would have. But
I mean, like, you
I'd
could
be on here. It would be scorched earth.
It's yeah, for sure. But it's like it's Mario Kart, it's Rainbow Road, it's Pokemon. It's like it's one of those things that when you think of gaming in that like collage that comes up in your brain, Halo 3 is on there for me. You know, and it's big. Like Halo 3 is like one of the best games ever made. I think it still holds up today, even in the original graphics. It's one of the things. 2007 is that year I was like, fuck, I'm a gamer. Like, I've been playing games a lot of the time, and I've been enjoying it, and I like Final Fantasy and stuff, but, like, man, I would sit down and play Halo 3 non-stop, constantly. I'm not one of those completionist types, but I went through on the hardest difficulty just to beat it, because there was, you know, added to your gamer score and shit like that. Spent ages online, or doing co-ops for stuff, or, like, helping me. Like, that's the game that got me in it. You know, and then COD 4 was there, but, like, Halo 3 is like
COD was a bit mindless compared to what Halo
it was in comparison, it was a mindless shooter for sure. And so in that way you can never divorce like Halo from gaming, but you're right, it doesn't matter anymore. And the most praise I've heard for Infinite is that it's the best 343 Halo,
which isn't saying too much.
Which it is.
But it's not saying much. It's not saying much.
It's not saying much. It's not saying much at all, but like that critique isn't wrong. You know, that critique isn't wrong at all. But yeah, it's not saying a lot, and it is like I haven't given my opinion of Halo Infinite publicly yet because we're waiting for the Four Pillars podcast.
No, why don't you give it here where it's important and people will actually listen,
where it will actually get views, you know,
and all the hosts
will get heard. That's a good point. That's a great point. You say that again, I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron, but that's okay. That's okay.
I want to know, does he have a soldering iron just on hand?
That was a very specific.
Does he have one just, it's in my drawer, don't worry about it, go ahead. The guy works in video, and he's got a soldering iron just nearby. Me, you can get, maybe because I'm a tradesman, don't worry about it.
Well, you couldn't get it because I stole it.
Fucking bastard.
Shit.
Cool back.
No, so the actual reason I say that is it's in fact it's my favorite comedy movie of all time, Joe Dirt. Have you guys seen Joe Dirt?
No.
Oh my god, it's David Spade, and it is. I've seen it 100 times at least. It is fucking.
I feel
brilliant.
like you pick movies that you're just like, I love this. I'm watching this all the time.
Yeah, but when I was a kid, like I liked what I liked. I've seen it 1,000 times. There's probably my three favorite comedies: Joe Dirt, Step Brothers, and Hot Rod. I've seen all three of those movies 100 times. Like I can sit there and just quote the shit out of all those movies. But Joe Dirt's David Spade. He plays a kid was born with a bit of a skull issue. So his parents gave him a mullet wig when he was born, and he never cut it. So he's just got this disgusting, dirty mullet. But when he was 8 years old, his parents left him at the Grand Canyon. And abandoned him. And
I don't know why that's hilarious to me, but it is.
You're a terrible person.
He spent his life searching for his parents, trying to find him because they like forgot him. And as an adult, David Spade, he works as janitor at a radio station, and he's such a loser. The radio host goes, "Dude, just come on! Like, I've got to know what's your deal? Why are you such a loser? Like, tell me your story." And the movies are him telling his life story of like what happened. And it's tragic, but it's also so fucking hilarious because he travels all around America trying to find his parents because he doesn't even know where he's from or anything.
Right.
And he meets all these different characters in different towns, and one of them is it's Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Who plays like he's like a mafia boss who works as a janitor at a school because he's in witness protection.
Right.
So every time someone talks to him bad, he goes, I don't like your tone. You do it again, I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron. Every time.
All right.
So that's just a thing. It's just such a common reference for me and my family always fucking quote it. So that's why.
Now I'm going to have to watch this.
So that's that long story about that one reference. Hey. 2001, it's one of my favorite comedy movies of all time. It has 10% of Rotten Tomatoes. So you do with that.
Oh, well then that's got to be great. It's got to be amazing.
It's got to be amazing. Yeah, that's one of those ones. It's so bad, it's good.
I'm going to say it. 85 to 2003, Golden Age will never get as good as that ever again.
Yeah.
Anyway, frick that
Yeah.
gaming.
It's 63% audience score, to be fair, though.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh well,
So it's 10%.
If critics give it 10%, then it's got to be. You just
Mate.
invert critic scores, yeah.
The critics on Rotten Tomatoes gave something like, was it like 90% for that Cuties Netflix show?
pedos,
And that's
isn't it?
all about like pedophilia, basically.
Yeah,
I was like,
fucking
whoa,
nonsense, yeah.
no thank you.
Jesus.
Anyway, so you don't
Yeah.
want to go anywhere near critic scores.
Nonsense.
Okay,
Yeah.
just a little bit of information to add to this as
Yes.
well, to our discussion about Call of Duty and stuff like that. Jason Schreier, our favourite, just absolutely amazing dickhead, has gone out and found out that apparently the
I
next
forgot
Call-
he existed.
yeah, he's pretty much irrelevant only until there's a whiff of crunch somewhere, and then he makes it the biggest deal, even though the devs are like, it's not that big.
I
of a
will
deal.
I just
say-
didn't know anyone still followed him because I thought he
I'm
blocked
the only
his
one
entire following
unblocked.
list.
Yeah, Sheps
That's
is the
not
only one that's
blocked.
managed to escape it.
And it's not because I haven't sent him enough hate. Like I've been like, you're an idiot plenty of times and not got it. But I will say, in defense of Jason Schreier, he clapped back at NFTs like a couple of days ago, and it was
Hero.
actually. I read the tune. I was like,
Hero.
oh, this is really funny. It's from who's this guy? I'll follow Jason. No,
Oh,
I won't
no.
follow him.
No,
But
thank
well
you.
done, Jason.
So he did some reporting. He says that apparently the next 3 Call of Duties are guaranteed to be on PlayStation as well as Xbox. That's going to be the one in 2022, 2023, and Warzone, which comes out in 2023 as well. After that, it's a mystery. We don't know. I'm on your sides as well. I feel like they will still come to PlayStation, but I think what Sheps has said is right. They'll just do some heinous, some absolutely egregious exclusivity deal with like maps or skins or whatever it might be, and they will go thing.
And
How
they'll let PlayStation, Sony guys foot the bill. They'll be the only people
Exactly.
paying for the stuff. But
now, here's an interesting thing. No matter what happens, this is a bad situation for Sony when it comes to Call of Duty.
yeah.
If they take away Call of Duty, that's a huge revenue loss for Sony because they take 30% of everything that goes through the store, right? And Call of Duty is the biggest seller ever. Even the MPD results came out last year.
Yeah.
Vanguard, the worst Call of Duty by far for a long time, still the #1 game sold in 2021.
Yeah.
That's how big Call of Duty is. So PlayStation made a lot of money. Without it, they would lose a ton. However, for every 30% they get, Microsoft is now going to get 70. So it doesn't matter how good they do on PlayStation, it's always going to be funding the bucket of Microsoft. And it's going to be like,
Well, except
30 here, 70 over there. 30,
Except, but
70 over
that's
there.
the point, though.
Yeah.
I think
That's Microsoft's point, yeah.
Well, that's my point
Okay.
for why they will want to keep it on Sony, because Sony's the only place where people are buying stuff.
Yeah.
Except skins and stuff. They're very predatory on Xbox because it's mostly kids. But like in terms of upfront costs and stuff, like the only people that are going to purchase the game is really PlayStation guys. So I'm not sure if it will go. I will say, I would expect that once it still went through and this stuff came out, that Firewalk got on a call with Sony and they were like, you need to make this first-person shooter bang.
Oh, yeah. That and Deviation Games apparently making something similar as well.
Here's another thing. Okay, so let's say PlayStation does lose COD, right?
Yeah.
And they have no FPS to fill the void. That would suck.
Yeah.
But they've got, 3 Star Wars games and 2 are exclusive, correct?
I
that
know
right
that
off the top of my head?
KOTOR's a console exclusive launch for I don't know how long. What's the other
We
one?
presumed a year. And
Presumed,
there's another one.
yes.
I know there's we know there's KOTOR. I thought there was another one. I forget what it
Perhaps.
was. Like they still have some massive gets, absolutely massive. And I just don't think you can run a console on just one game.
Yeah.
You know, especially a game that's moving into the battle royale free-to-play space. You know, because the best thing COD's ever done in terms of money making is Warzone.
Yeah. I have to say, this KOTOR thing is a lot more interesting than I think some people realize.
Oh yeah.
Do you know about Knights of the Old Republic, Tyler, being exclusive to PC and PlayStation for the launch anyway?
I didn't know there was an exclusive deal with that game.
Yeah, so they announced it at the PlayStation conference or whatever it is, and it's exclusive at launch, they say. They haven't said how long that launch is. PlayStation typically go for a year, but still unconfirmed. It's exclusive to them. And apparently the whole deal was open to Xbox as well. Xbox were in the bidding war with Sony, and Sony came out on top.
Yeah.
Now,
Right.
With the infinite money that Microsoft have, it's hard to believe that Sony would ever win that war, right? So then the logic comes down to that maybe Disney, who are looking for someone to go with, weren't strictly looking for money. They were also looking for quality, and they've seen the lineup that PlayStation have done with Spider-Man, with Miles
Can you repeat
Morales.
that sentence again? Can you repeat that sentence again?
Sure. So it's likely to be that Disney weren't looking exactly for.
No, I need you to stop what you're saying right there. I don't
Okay,
understand.
go on.
Can you say that? What company name did you just say?
Disney.
Yeah, I feel you, Tyler.
Disney. Wait, is that what you're
feel
saying?
you.
You're saying Disney's not looking for money?
No.
Well, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard someone
No,
say.
no.
Exclusively.
You got yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not saying they're gonna be like, oh, wait, you do it for free, and we'll just go for the quality that you prefer, or whatnot.
Come on, bro. You're old enough for this.
I think-
You're
No.
old enough.
No.
Well, all right, okay, no. Let him answer this. All right. So, what was the reason why they went with Sony then?
Because on this case, Sony came to play with some money.
Nah, Microsoft has
More than
unlimited
Microsoft?
funds.
They
Microsoft has
just spent
unlimited funds.
$70 billion on a company that's toxic from the inside out.
They just spent $70 billion.
Well, that was afterwards. That was way afterwards. This deal was done way before.
They also bought Bethesda.
Yeah, but they have tons of money. I mean, after Bethesda, they then spent another $70 billion the next year. They have the money, so the money isn't the question.
There's two possible takes to this, and maybe they're both combined to make it this way, which is one, Microsoft didn't bid that hard for Star Wars, right? If they couldn't get it cheap enough, they didn't want it, because if I was at Microsoft, I'd know that you couldn't deliver. You'd have a great you'd have a great IP that you can't really do anything with. I mean, look at what they did with Halo, right? You know you're not delivering on those kinds of games currently. And the other side of the coin is, I think, what you're really getting at, which is that Disney looked at who's bidding, if Microsoft even really bid at all or very hard, and went, these guys are making trash, and these guys are more likely to not just respect the IP, but give it its best showing. If there's a very good Star Wars game, it's like to push people more onto like Disney Plus and into the cinema to see more Star Wars stuff.
That's what I think they were looking at, more the broader picture rather than just this one-time cash grab.
Yeah.
And
because if they were looking at the broader picture, they wouldn't be making an exclusive deal.
Possibly, yeah.
Unless
they offered something like
to anyone,
our prowess,
Sony have
our
offered
game
them something.
studios.
Sony have offered them something, and they were willing to pay for this particular game more than Xbox were. It's not that Xbox don't have the money, but like they've got to look at deal by deal. It's a case by case basis.
Look,
and Sony might have come to the table with way more money in this case.
That's the thing. Like Shep said, and you said as well, it might just be that Microsoft didn't bid as hard for this for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I just feel like
it's because they're dumb, and that we do know.
They are.
We've
Okay.
established this on this episode of the podcast.
That is
so
true.
I could believe then the way this is going. That's the only scenario I believe is right. I just felt like it was more compelling that they brought all their might to the table as Microsoft, which is only their wallet, and then Sony were like, we have money as well. We're not a broke company, but we're just not Microsoft. And then we're like, but we also have all of this, and you're likely to make more sales because our gamers pay for games, they buy games, and so on and so forth.
Microsoft are like the English cricket side, a bunch of losers. That we do know.
I wish I cared about cricket.
They're playing cricket. They must be losers.
I'll say this: like I can believe that it's multiple factors, right? I could believe that Disney. Let's say it was like Sony. I'll make up a number. Sony bid 100 million and Microsoft bid 110, and they looked at it and went, you know what? I think we're actually better off going with Sony for multiple reasons. One, they'll do better with the game, right? If you're talking Star Wars, so you're looking at sword fights, basically Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us, combat systems, God of War, like those are the way to go. So they can do the combat for sure. They'll probably do a better job of the game. That's probably better for us long term. It's better for our image. And then this was probably in the works from like 2019-ish, somewhere in there.
Probably, yeah. That's what Genesis was.
If you look at the consoles, okay, we're going to make a game. It's going to come to console. Who do we want to have it? Microsoft with like 30 million units, or PlayStation with 110? Was it? You know, they had more than or at least 3 times the amount of consoles out there. So for a little bit of money, you know, plus or minus 5 or 10% upfront for the deal,
brand recognition, stuff
right?
Like
it might have made sense on multiple. All of those things lined up. Plus, Microsoft are stupid. You know,
that.
Like they'll buy Bethesda, but not Star Wars. What the what?
Anyway,
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
that was just a little like side note I wanted to go on, and that's all a good conversation. And I want to bring it up to this one question that I put out on Twitter, and that is: do either of you ever see Game Pass coming to PlayStation? Really
No.
think about it, because don't get me wrong. There's thoughts.
You texted me this morning. I have thought about it.
Oh,
I've
you have thought
it all
about it.
day.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I want everyone to give their thoughts. Tyler, go ahead. Take it away.
Look, Game Pass going to PlayStation makes no fucking sense, and you guys have talked about it on this episode. It's not a moneymaker.
Yeah.
It's It's to draw you to buy consoles or buy Windows 10, on your PC.
Yeah.
Like, Microsoft want you to have Microsoft products. Game Pass is not the seller for these games. It's losing the money. And it's not like the more subscribers, the more it's going to pay dividends, but it's not. Games are so much more expensive than TV shows. They just are. A season of a TV show to a video, like, it's just way more expensive.
Way more.
Like, you're talking about Halo Infinite, you're talking about $500 million. That's how much it costs to make fucking the Hobbit trilogy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
And that was awful.
What
Jesus,
do we talk?
man.
It was tough. I mean, it was tough for fans like me. I just think that I just don't see a world where their investment in Game Pass is to invest in being the superior hardware choice on both PC and in console form. So I just don't see why they would then take their selling point to sell their hardware and give it to the hardware that's beating the fuck out of them, that's pounding them into the earth and has been for the last 10 years.
Well,
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
do you want to go next, or do you want me to give my reasoning, the genesis of this idea?
Oh, I think we're both gonna beat you up. So let's fix
Yeah.
on this being a shit idea. Not because I want to hear what you have to say, because sometimes
Also,
you
I'm not
surprise
saying
me.
this is my idea. I want it to happen.
Yeah.
It came up in the
Yeah.
community, so I wanted to bring it
And
up.
I'm curious to hear what it is, but I agree with Tyler. Like, the only reason to be on Xbox, let me rephrase that. One of their big selling points is that, like, stuff comes day and date. You have this access to this enormous library, right? And that is the whole point. They did that was to get people on there, because they can't compete with the games. So they competed with quantity of games, not quality of games. So giving that access to the PlayStation guys, then they're guaranteed, if they ever thought there was a chance that someone would leave PlayStation and go to Xbox, which there isn't, they're guaranteed to, like, end that one person's choice to do that.
Yeah.
The other thing is that, let's say it did happen.
Yeah.
I think it's like another nail in the coffin for the Xbox, because then you have Sony guys who all have PS Plus, because you need it to play online. Most of us have it, right? You're looking at just what you're given for free on the PS Plus collection versus what's on Game Pass. The quality disparity is so massive, it's not worth. If I could get it on my PlayStation for $1 for 2 years, I wouldn't pay it. It's not worth it, and I'm not being a dick. It's not worth it to me. Maybe Halo Infinite, but I can play that here on that thing on an even more powerful rig. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Certainly not for $1 a month. Absolutely not for $9.99 or $4.99, whatever it is. It's not worth it in comparison to the quality of games that I already have access to. And I think whatever's on PlayStation, especially exclusive, will just shit on anything on Game Pass. Especially if you have it right there. Like, you don't even have to turn on a second console to compare them. If it's right there, you're never touching what's on Game Pass ever. That's my opinion. So what's the thought?
So this is the first person I've heard to say this as being a thing possibly is actually Colin Moriarty. He says that he reckons one day it will happen. He reckons the intent...
Do you know Colin Moriarty?
I don't know.
It's a big name in the industry. Do you know?
I don't know him like you do. You guys know him. And one day,
he's my friend.
One day,
He's
I'd
my
like
friend. That's
an
okay.
introduction. Thank you very much. That's it. That's what we should do. We should just be at a bar together. But Colin Moriarty. I've heard about
Colin
you somewhere.
Moriarty is the guy. He's along with us as one of the top 2 Sony Pony podcasts. Correct?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
right.
That's what it is. He reckons this will happen. He reckons that at least that is Microsoft's intent, and they'll be gunning for it hard at one point. Whether or not Sony goes for it is going to be a bit hit and miss, because there has to be certain conditions met. Jeff Grubb, who hasn't got an original thought in his mind, obviously brought this up recently, and it was on Twitter, and then everyone else started to have more of a detailed conversation about it. I'm in the camp that I don't think it will happen, purely because there are so many obstacles you would have to overcome, and each one of those obstacles are a fail or continue scenario. And Colin says as well, like, it would have to be a watered down version. There's no way you'd get the third party games because PlayStation make money off of those third party games, so they need that revenue. Why would they give that to Game Pass?
Stuff's going to come day and date.
Exactly. So it'd have to be. So it'd have to be first party games. It would have to only be the PlayStation, the Xbox ones that come over. And then in that case, it's like, is it really worth it? Is it? I mean, it'd be cool to play those games that you don't have access to on PlayStation, but that's really the only draw factor, right? Yeah. But then also it would be, do you want a competitor on your system, etc., etc.? The idea that Colin was pitching with this thing was that, contrary to what Tyler was saying, he believes that Microsoft isn't looking to sell consoles anymore. They are just purely looking at their subs numbers. That's all they're looking at, and it's kind of evident because that's all they ever mention.
They only focus on services.
They mention revenue, they don't mention profits, they don't mention console sales, they don't mention unit sales of anything. Partly because it's embarrassing to mention those things because they're
never
negatives.
Split it up.
It's always like bundled into a jumbled mess. But they always mention subscriptions of Game Pass, and they don't mention how much people are paying for those subscriptions because they're giving away codes constantly, and that's how it works. He does have some reasoning because, like Netflix doesn't care where it is. It could be on your TV, your phone, your laptop. It could be on a whatever Fire Stick, wherever it could be available. It will be there, and that gets you access to most people. And eventually, that might be what Microsoft is looking to do in the future, especially with their xCloud and streaming service and stuff they've got right there. However, I still don't think it comes to PlayStation because there would have to be a massive negotiation where it's like, okay, for every subscription that goes through, we get $5 or whatever it might be. So like, what is it? Game Pass is like $15, something like that. We get $5 of that, something like that. Well, that's the thing. They wouldn't say percentage because then it would be not in Sony's benefit. They would say $5 for each one, and when they sell it for $1, then they get a profit. They get so much more money. But they would say that, and then would Microsoft go for taking another huge loss just to be on their competitor's system? And like you said, Tyler, it would help if they could convert them over to their side, if they could at least get off of the Sony platform. But does a watered down version of Game Pass even do that? You get four exclusive games a year.
Yeah. And
is that enough for you? Is that worth paying $15 a month, $10 a month just so you can get these 4 games? And does it get you off of PlayStation? Which PlayStation will continue to still make quality, amazing games with IPs you know. Will it do it?
I pay for PlayStation Plus,
and
I think it obviously is like having like an Xbox Live. You have all your online services,
Yeah.
But like they don't have a Game Pass that comes along with it like Xbox do, but they do have a really nice library of some free games if you haven't, like their classic library and whatnot. And look, it's not the best thing in the world, but like they're such high quality games and such a high quality product that I don't know, for me personally, it's never even been a thought process in my mind that I'm getting ripped off. I'm like, well, I know I'm going to get to play, for fuck's sake, God of War. Like, do I need to say any more than that?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck else do you want? There's God of War, for God's sake.
So I think key takeaway, Colin, you're stupid, and if you want to refute that claim, you have to come on the podcast and you can be heard.
We'll be happy to have you and berate you like the idiot you are. I feel really bad for saying that. That's going to get clipped.
I love Colin. Love the guy.
Yeah, I just disagree here for sure.
But he's not always right. You know what I mean? Like he's not always right, but he's a very smart guy.
The other thing,
but he's not always right, and in this case, he's not right.
Yeah, the other thing is, like, I agree. I think Microsoft is really pushing services hard. They really are, but
out of default, they can't sell the consoles.
Right,
That's why they have to do that.
However, they will sell some number of consoles, and it will be profitable. It will make the money. It will be worth doing. And the thing that we're not taking into account here is that, especially with things like the Series S or whatever they're calling it, I forget, being so cheap and affordable, and the likelihood that will be out there getting it looks like that's way outperforming the X. That there is a business model that people aren't thinking about, and that is the microtransactions.
Yeah.
That is the number of Netflixes and Amazon Primes and stuff that is on Xboxes. That is the number of microtransactions going through Fortnite and Warzone and Apex and stuff. And that picks up a lot of the bill, I think.
What's that type of income called? It's like passive income. It's like passive income for the company, microtransactions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's surprisingly a lot. Surprisingly a lot for no effort.
You think, let's say you got one kid, little Timmy, and he's got the Series S, so he didn't make any money on the console, really, but he's got his Netflix on there, he's got his Disney Plus on there, he's got Fortnite and Warzone, and he buys skins all the time with mum's credit card whenever she's not looking. They're going to end up making money on that kid, at least probably within the first 2 or 3 years after he gets the console. So it's worth having the consoles out there. And Game Pass, I don't think, competes as a game service if an Xbox doesn't exist. No one wants the service. It's something you get as a reason to get an Xbox. But in a sea of other services and other content providing services, like Game Pass is kind of shit. It's just got a lot of stuff on it, but it's a lot of stuff you don't want to play.
I think the reason why it's got this far is because it's really the only gaming service out there. There's not another gaming service yet.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that turns out. I'm sure the wars are heating up. We've got PlayStation's ones coming soon. I'm sure Ubisoft Plus, that's going to be great.
Well, I mean,
all that lot, and we'll see how it goes.
The other thing is, I don't know if the model's there yet. So, Game Pass is doing it a way. Stadia, Nvidia, they did it a different way.
Yeah.
Eventually someone's going to hit the nail on the head where it's a service people actually want, a service people actually are going to use. It's got the right amount of games and the right quality of games, and people are going to go, you know what, this actually is the Netflix of gaming. And then what happened with Netflix will happen, which is everything was on Netflix. It was an incredible service. That was people went there and it started making money hand over fist. Except, I know on paper Netflix has never made a profit. You're an idiot if you think that Netflix doesn't make money, right?
Yeah.
That's not how taxes work. But then everybody else went, that model makes money. So Disney does it, Hulu does it, HBO does it, Stars does it, Amazon Prime does
Paramount
it.
Plus.
Paramount does it.
Favorite.
Right, and the whole thing that made Netflix good was that everything was there.
Yeah.
Or so much stuff was there, and then everything splinters off. So there will be a thing that hits it. It isn't Game Pass.
Not yet, at least.
Netflix did it as an independent business without Microsoft footing the bill and managed to survive.
Yeah. That proves Game Pass.
Game Pass wouldn't.
There's funny thing that happened on Twitter. I mentioned it was a casual conversation and stuff like that, and I was like, the only reason why Activision got purchased and Game Pass is going is because Daddy is footing the bill for the snotty kid.
Yeah,
and that's what this whole scenario is with Xbox and Microsoft. And he was like, who are you? Do you not think that your parents fed you when you were a kid when you got started? And I was like, your analogy doesn't work. This isn't providing food. This is buying your son a football team and then saying, oh, he's independent.
Right.
That's what this is. That's not the same thing. Anyway, it's a funny thing that went on like that. So you think, is there no way at all? Is there no magic wand that you can go and go, this needs to happen, and then maybe Game Pass comes to PlayStation?
In my opinion,
Devil's
it would be
advocate situation.
terrible business move, and Microsoft already make enough of those.
Well, that's the thing.
So bad. I don't even think Microsoft makes some really dumb decisions, but they also make. I think all these acquisitions.
Yeah.
I think are a good move in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
They have nothing to show for it, and there's a couple of things to make any of it viable, and that is they know the recipes that they need to follow, and they got to start following it. You've got to kick out some new IPs and revive some long dead IPs. No one wants that shit in between. Look what they did with Halo. No one wants it. No one cares about Gears anymore. You need to revive some of the really old stuff, I want Banjo-Kazooie, but stuff that people have forgotten about but remember. And then you need some new stuff, Fable's long dead, and that has to fuck hard or Xbox.
Fable. If Fable fucks hard, I'm back on the train.
I'm gonna buy one.
I'm gonna 180. I'm gonna 180 like such a bitch.
I agree.
I'm gonna 180 like such a bitch.
I agree.
We
I'll
need to
be
clip this for future reference.
Yeah. I'll admit it. No, I won't buy. To be fair, I've got a great PC. I don't need an Xbox, and I play Halo on the PC. I'm gonna buy Fable. I can't wait for Fable. It's other than Horizon and God of War, it's my most hyped game. It's the only thing I give a shit about from Xbox.
Me too. It's the only game I care about on Xbox. The only game. Also, it's one of the only games they have on the docket. But
I'll be very interested to check out Fable because I don't have the same draw as you guys do because I've never played a Fable game. Don't have any history.
One of the best. One of the original
So
Fable's
good.
one of the best
Oh,
games
yeah?
of all time.
yeah, oh my god,
This will
yeah,
be
so
hilarious. This will be great.
But then the
to
other thing
find
is
out.
that like, so we have. I assume you played it back in the day, Tyler. Like, or did
Yes, I
you
did,
recently come to it?
No. I played Fable 1 from when Fable 1 released.
Cool. So I had Ed play Mass Effect 1 and Halo recently.
Yeah.
And you didn't vibe with Mass Effect, but at the time when it came out, it was pretty good. And then 2, you need to get to 2. 2's a massive improvement. But like,
Huge.
yeah, so, oh my god, so different.
2's one of the great games of all time.
Yeah, totally agree. It's a masterpiece. Absolute masterpiece.
Yeah.
So good. I really want you to get there. I would just... Because the way I talk about Halo, and you're starting to get it, even though you didn't live it like we did.
Yeah.
But you're like, you can see it.
I could see it. Yeah.
Right, like when Master Chief gives the Covenant back their bomb,
Yeah.
I jizz every time.
I was like, oh,
I
this
don't need
was
your
as
pills.
This this was as hype as you said it was when
Yeah.
I experienced it. I was like, okay, all right.
And Mass Effect 2 is one of those games, but Fable also like that, but it came out at a time when gaming was kind of innocent and not. I mean, it was really, for its time, quite complex, and there was a lot of stuff you could do in it. Now it wouldn't really hold up. If you were to go and play Fable 1 now, you probably wouldn't vibe with it.
Right.
Fable 4 needs to fuck hard. It needs to be an actual Fable successor.
Yeah.
Or...
It needs to pound us into the fucking earth.
Yeah,
That's
and
how much it
I'll
is
ask
fucked.
for seconds if it's proper, if it really is what it should be. But then the thing is, if it doesn't, then that means Xbox has killed both Fable and Halo, 2 of the greatest franchises ever.
That would be bad, right?
I mean, how do you come back from that?
It'd be tough.
You don't.
You know,
Oh,
I agree. You don't. I think that's like proof that Microsoft just can't make games if they can't do that. You know.
well, at least they could always follow Ubisoft and make like a Fire of Notre Dame game. That'd be a great thing to do. Have you heard about that, Tyler?
Yeah. Oh no. I've
What
we
a fucking-
did. It'll come out next week. But we did the Four Pillars podcast. We went pretty deep into it.
Can't wait.
And it is. Yeah, it's very funny. It's very funny.
Okay, that's what-
we know a lot about said Notre Dame game.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Yeah, I personally don't see it either. That's
I
it's
think we're all on board.
there are other people that I've heard arguments for and against it, and I was like, I can see some of your points, but as I said, I go back to it. I was like, even if we were to entertain the idea that both parties were to be a want to do it,
Yeah.
the amount of negotiations that would have to go in between, there's so many hurdles, and each one of those hurdles aren't just like a fall over and continue going and maybe we'll catch up on the next one. It's a railroad spike, and
Yeah.
it will go through your fucking body and kill the idea.
I mean, there's showstoppers off the bat. Game Pass doesn't make money.
Yeah.
So how are you going to
yeah.
partner, right? Like that off the bat. But let's grant that it does. You have to like Infinity Stone make all these wishes happen before you can even start maybe getting a business agreement together. It just doesn't seem to make
The
sense.
Call of Duty one is going to be the worst one as well, because technically now that becomes Xbox first party.
Yeah.
And if a Game Pass comes over, it's like, so do we still have Call of Duty on the service,
Right.
or do we and on PlayStation and on Game Pass? Because then no one's buying it on PlayStation.
Right.
They're going to get. It's going to be such a weird. So many hurdles. I can't get over
And
it.
look, I'll admit it. I'm like a Sony pony, but only because they deliver for me.
Yes.
We both agree, and I'm sure Tyler, you'll probably agree with this. Ultimately, Sony is a soulless, heartless corporation that will sell you down the river the second it's profitable. The reason they deliver good games is because they found a recipe and it makes them so much freaking money
Yeah.
that they deliver on games. That's the only reason.
Correct.
So the second that flips and it's now Microsoft doing it, I will move, and I have no qualms about that. And I will also still always love my old PlayStations and have all these great memories, same the way I feel about the 360.
Yeah.
But like, I'll go where the games are. The games are not.
It's a mega corporation and billion-dollar company,
Right.
both of them.
Yeah.
I don't have any fucking loyalty. I'll jump
Yeah, you
ship every
kidding?
day if I want to. Fuck
Right.
them.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Anyone that gives you shit like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you backtrack. I thought you were loyal to a big fuck you."
Yeah,
To a
no.
billion-dollar
I'll fucking
company.
do whatever
Yeah.
I want. Are you a fucking idiot?
Right.
Like you're loyal to a billion-dollar corporation? Like they give a fuck about you?
Yeah.
Like they don't
It's
have fucking
ridiculous.
children in sweatshops in China and North Korea
Oh my
making
God.
half their
Yeah.
fucking product.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit about
Not at
you. Like unbelievable. They give a shit about how many fucking FIFA points you can buy on your
Yeah.
mum's credit card.
Yeah.
That's what they care about.
Exactly.
That's EA, but you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's,
You know what
no,
I'm
but
saying?
it's the point is, soulless, heartless corporations. They just look at you as a number, and the only reason Sony delivers is because it makes them more money.
Yeah.
It's the same reason, like, let's say you have a favorite brand of car, and you think the same thing. It's only because they make more money giving you a better product.
Yeah.
If you would buy, like, you know, a lawn chair on, like, rails, they would sell it to you.
Yeah, cost them less. They'll be like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
of course
that's
they
cool."
would. Yeah.
Sort of a side note. It's kind of related to the whole companies and whatnot. It's
Yeah.
more to do with the personalities in them. PlayStation's lost a lot of personality with their
Yeah.
company. They still have the culture. They have like the culture of like fostering games and stuff like that. But I miss the days that we used to have like Shuhei Yoshida coming out on stage and Sean Layden and stuff like
we need
that.
some personalities,
Yeah.
some faces.
The personalities that Microsoft have are really bad. Does anyone have that feeling as well? Do you have like kind of scummy sort of feeling?
I fully agree with you. It's that like cheesy
what do you mean
fake
by that?
grin.
So, like for example, okay, I'll mention a couple of examples. I've said I don't like Phil Spencer because of the way he talks and he's like politician
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and that makes me feel like he's disingenuous and it's just like a scummy sort of personality he gives out. What's that? Major Nelson guy.
Major Nelson.
He acts as if he's like part of the gaming community, but then he does this like fake smile thing and
Whenever
whatnot.
he finishes a statement and they're going to cut something else, he goes into this ridiculous plastered smile,
Anchorman smile,
Yeah.
like how you doing?
and then it cuts to the thing. But sometimes, you know how it is with live events, sometimes the cut takes a while.
Yeah.
So it's like he's there for like 3 seconds with this dead, like, if Jaws could smile, until it cuts to the footage.
It seems so fake
it
and
is
whatnot, so
very fake.
positive. And yesterday, one other person, Aaron Greenberg. Do you guys know that
Yeah.
name? He's let me just say, he's a marketing specialist at Microsoft. He changed his profile picture to Crash Bandicoot after the acquisition and
Yeah.
whatnot, in sort of like an X pose, and him doing an X there to sort of like make fun of like PlayStation gamers who've now lost Crash and whatnot. And I was like, that's so
That's
distasteful.
poor marketing, isn't it?
What that is like it's like you going and getting with your enemy's girlfriend and then flaunting it as if like you're such a cool guy. No, you're a dickhead. That's what
Yeah.
you're an arsehole. It's like
It's more like
Ocean's
a colleague's
11.
girlfriend. 'cause
What's that, sorry?
It's more like going and getting with a colleague's girlfriend when you're both looking for the same promotion.
Exactly.
That's
It's
closer to it.
like in Ocean's 11 where like Julia Roberts, I hope everyone's seen it. Julia Roberts gets with that guy in the casino, Terry Benedict and whatnot, and George Clooney comes back. Do you think Terry Benedict's a cool guy? He's a dickhead. He's a dickhead in that movie because he's stolen this guy's chick. That's what he is. And I was like, this is the kind of culture that they have, and it just pisses me off sometimes.
think that
Again, it's separate to the company. It's just the people sometimes are cunts.
You'd think a marketing guy would have an idea that maybe rubbing salt in the wound
Not so great.
isn't a good idea if the idea of the acquisition was to encourage people onto your platform.
Yeah.
And rather than it being like, hey, look, we made a deal and we've got all this stuff on our side. Like, look at all the stuff that now is going to be on here. Instead, it's like, haha, took this from you.
Yep.
It's just, I don't know, it's very bizarre. And I think, I don't know, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's plenty of things that Sony put their foot in it.
Oh, I mean, they were the ones that did the how do you play used games on PlayStation 4 and then pass the game over. So, as far as I'm concerned, they've done their share of dickish shit as well. However, this was a move that Microsoft were trying to screw the gamers, and PlayStation was showing how they weren't screwing gamers, and this is just being a cunt.
Yeah. I
So,
agree.
you know, a bit of difference there.
I agree. Talking of cunts, there's a
Yes.
special group of people over on patreon.com/conversations that
Yes,
sponsor
there are.
the $5 tier are true gamers that made this show in particular happen. You're only an hour and 15 minutes in, boys. Don't complain.
Don't
alright?
complain.
You're lucky we read you out, all right?
Those fine people are, those true gamers are Adam the High Quality Potato, Jeremy Horde, Make Bindis Mod, Sheps is Crusty Right Nut, Isak Mali, Adam the Melissa Bonnie Simp, Catsper Coral, Kevin Crow, Sab2557, Random Wavelength, Rick, Joe McCormack, Diogo, Billy, the Puthi Conathor, aka Zacchino. Your names are great, bro. Sussy Imposter Amogus Moment, Batfan, aka the Better Eddie Clone, Dan Dano, Fishy, the Jackal, Alpha Aquelele, Max H, Cobra SS, Albiscori, and It Hurts. Thank you very much, guys, for supporting us over at patreon.com.
We also have Ollie the Spirit, Ollie.
No, it's fine. That's everything we got.
Ferentino, Flash Power, Franco, Just King Richard III, Ryan Hayes, Tristan Weaver, Viridian, and Ballsack 47. Thank you, Sweet Vintage Lads, for helping keep me alive and actually making me want to be with these guys.
Freaking muted the whole way through, just silence. We just sat here in silence.
Yeah, we're just all you see is he's like a ventriloquist. He's just talking like that.
Right.
Really, it's us just talking.
Now, talking of true gaming,
yes,
and true gamers,
yes,
boys. I know maybe this might be a shorter list, or not so much for Tyler because he did come out of like the worst year of his life. ... so far.
Okay.
What have you been playing?
Bro, I've been. So, do you want to go first, Tyler? Actually, I mean, as our guest,
normally we would say he's a guest, but he's kind of a cunt.
Yeah, he's a bit of a dick.
So, I am a cunt. That's true.
Tyler,
let's
go
see
on. Go on. What have you been playing, mate?
That's true. But here's the thing: in Australian language, you call a cunt your mate, and you call your mate a cunt. So that's sort of how it works down here.
Nah, that's what. Yeah,
it's pretty similar.
So if you call me a cunt, that to me means I'm a good guy.
We're friends.
Yeah. So what I've been playing. I mean, this year I had COVID a couple weeks ago, so I spent a lot of time playing some games. I've played more games in like the first 2 weeks of 2022 than like the last 2 years before it combined. Certainly 2021. But I finished Halo Infinite, which was actually, I'm not even going to say what I thought.
Okay, fair enough.
I actually played through start to finish in like one day Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, the rhythm game, and it was actually so much fun.
That's unfortunate.
I finished Final Fantasy VII Remake, finally.
Okay, good stuff.
Off of stream. Because I was like, I can't do this.
You were saying on Twitter, innit? Like, do I have to do this on stream?
Yeah.
I just don't want to stream. I don't have the energy. Like, just let me sit on my couch and fucking play
I like
a game.
streaming.
Like, I don't want to.
I like streaming, but the problem is we're being
guess.
compared to Ethan and James, the superhuman fucking streamers that go for 40 hours a day and then go, oh, what's up, guys? I'm just doing a casual stream today.
Casual 27-hour stream.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, also,
it's so much more energy than just if you want to relax and play a game.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, that's the
you
thing.
can actually rejuvenate while playing a game.
You have to decide up front if it's a game you just want to like enjoy. Which is not to say, by the way, because people that turn up to our streams, I love streaming, but you can't be fully immersed in a game while you're streaming because you have to also be like looking at chat and thinking about don't pick your nose on camera and stuff, all that stuff.
I just do it.
Also, I don't know if you guys, I know you found this, Ed, but I don't know about you, Tyler. I have found that the majority of games I've started online go in a pile of unfinished games because then I feel guilty about finishing them when I'm not streaming, and I don't. I don't have the setup to really. I just don't like the quality of my streams because of the hardware issue. Like Ratchet and Clank, and I'm a Ratchet and Clank simp. I haven't finished it because every time I go to boot up, I feel really bad that I'm not streaming it, and I'm like an hour away from the end.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what else have you been playing?
Tyler? Yeah, so I finished Final Fantasy. Can you hear me?
Sorry, we can hear you. You went silent for a second. Was like, oh, Jesus.
No, once I finished Final Fantasy VII, I guess. Well, just to finish off on the note about like the streaming thing, like if I had the time, I would. Like if I had the time and energy, because it takes energy. It's like it's actually effort to stream where you're tired afterwards. It's not like if I sit down on the couch and play a game, I'm refreshed afterwards because it's like doing nothing.
Yeah.
But streaming, there's a lot that goes to it. One, you're like a podcast. You're putting your energy in. You're trying to entertain. You're reading chat. You're running it. And then you're focusing on the game at a different level than just playing it casually. And I think just from working and doing everything else I do, like I don't have the energy.
That's the difference with James, isn't it? Because this is his job. This is his thing.
Yeah.
He can have the rest in between and then put all of his energy into that. Whereas if we have to put energy in all the other stuff that we put in our lives,
and then come back, and not that streaming. I don't want to make it sound like streaming is work, but it is not relaxation.
Yeah,
which
you
is
have
the
to
typical way
output
you get
energy.
Yeah.
So one day, maybe if we become YouTube millionaires, then we'll be doing this.
That's
Don't worry,
right.
guys.
That's right. Talking of that, Tyler, what is our profit share on it? No, I'm totally joking. What else? You finished?
Wait, you guys get paid?
Wait, you guys are getting paid? You finished Final Fantasy VII?
I'm in the middle of playing Plague Tale: Innocence. Right?
Me too.
I'm on
Yeah.
chapter 13, I think.
I think you're ahead of me.
And there's 16, or chapter 12, but there's 16 chapters. I know that.
How is it?
Chapter
How is
12 or 13.
No spoilers.
It's
no
fun.
spoilers.
It's a solid. It's no, of course, no. It's a solid game. It's a solid game. Yeah. It's got an interesting premise. The game continues to open up the further you go through the game. Yeah, it's really solid. Like, again, it's not a AAA game. It's not some massive studio, so don't have that expectation that it's going to do what a God of War and Uncharted does. But it is the Uncharted Naughty Dog sort of linear style and chapter based, and I really enjoy that style of storytelling in a game. And it's not too long. I think it's like a 10 to 15 hour game, and I thoroughly enjoy a solidly fun short game. So it's good. It's not like, I don't think it's anything necessarily to be like writing and bragging about, but it's a fun, solid experience. Yeah. And if there's more money and time and development to the sequel, I'm sure they'll improve it night and day, and the sequel will be well worth playing. Like, I like it enough that I will play the sequel for sure, and I'm excited.
The sequel's coming in like a year or two.
I think it's close. It might be this year.
It's soon.
Let me just check.
I'm also playing that. That's my one, really, that I'm playing at the minute. I'm following the aqueduct over the battlefield, for anybody that knows the thing. That's what I'm doing.
2022 it says for Requiem.
2022, yeah. So it's coming this year. And like you, I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying just a good, solid game that isn't going to take 500 hours to complete or 170 hours to complete. It's just going to be 10 to 15 hours just to play it.
Look, Dying Light, the developers at Dying Light proved that the more hours, and as well Ubisoft as well, have proved that the more hours it takes for you to complete the game, the better the game is.
The more game you get.
Fact.
Yeah. Fact. But like, I promise we'll ask what you're playing in a minute, but just to round out that point, like, we found out that I think they announced that Horizon Forbidden West is going to be 20 or 25 hours.
Yeah.
Like, that's freaking
good
news.
Love it.
Agree.
Love it.
It's good.
Amazing news.
Yeah,
amazing news.
I don't want an 80-hour game that doesn't respect my time. I want 20 hours
I'd rather.
I
won't finish it. If
same.
your game's over 50 hours, I'm not finishing it. Go fuck yourself.
Well, you don't want to play Persona 5?
I mean,
never
no.
Never a day in my life.
Yeah, me neither.
It's only James and the other weebs in the community.
I'm a weeb, and I don't want to sit myself down for 110 hour.
This is your king. This is your god.
It's true. What about you, Ed? What are you playing?
I've been playing more God of War on PC. I obviously, as the God of War stan of the community, I bought it on PC again, playing through it on like max settings, and it's just beautiful. I've been talking with, the thing is that it's been great playing it, and again, because I love it, but also talking in the community with the PC gamers who have never played it before.
Where it's fresh for them,
and like Corwin, he's gone 100%ed the game, and he's like, "Are you proud of me?" I'm like, "My boy, I'm so proud." And like Vit as well, he's saying like, "It's so easy to get lost on a side quest in this thing. You just get, the spirit talks to you, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna find your remains." And I'm like,
I saw like,
I know, I did that today.
I saw one tweet that someone sent you, and it just said, "Oh my god, I'm playing God of War. I see what you mean now." That's all it said.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, I don't lie when I say it's the greatest game ever.
I agree with you.
And then you have people like Amir the Synth Potato, who's like, it's like, yeah, God of War is great. He just finished it. He's like, yeah, God of War is great, but to me, it still doesn't beat Red Dead Redemption 2. And I'm like,
do you even get tuberculosis? Come on.
I was like, come on. It's a good point.
Well, I love the criticism of like anyone there would be like, well, those side quests are just feel the two side realms just feel a bit hollow, and it's just like waste of time. I'm like, I'm sorry for 5 hours of content you don't enjoy that much. What do you call the 2,000 hours to complete Red Dead's trophies that are useless and full of fucking nothing? Are you kidding me?
James said it perfectly. He put like one line that basically just dismantled his whole argument. He was like, yeah, there's like the side quests take you off of the path, and it's kind of meaningless.
I mean, that's kind of the point of side quests, but yeah.
And James was like, yeah, because Red Dead Redemption 2 doesn't meander at all. It just and I was like, oh fuck, oh god. Yeah. Well, that's the end of that then, isn't it? So
it's really
yeah. I mean, that is
dead.
That is turning the gun sideways, James. That was the kill shot.
Kill shot, right? Anyway, I've been playing more God of War. It's been fantastic. I still haven't completed it for this time and whatnot, but it's it's just beautiful.
Are you gonna? It's a silly question. Are you gonna 100% it?
The dumb thing is, I wasn't planning to because it's not trophies, and I don't feel the same
You're
draw.
wired a certain way.
But that's the only way I am wired. That's it, isn't
Exactly.
it? I can't not do it. I have to do it because that's the only way I get fun from a game. If I do,
I know that if I was to play it
achievements and
again,
trophies.
I'd spend most of my time fighting the Valkyries until I unlock the Valkyrie Queen, and then this time I'd be like, oh no, I don't think you can fight until the very end, and I'd be like, damn it, now I guess I have to complete the game.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll get the Chaos Blades. I'll be like 10% of the way through trying to fight all the freaking Valkyries with nothing, because that's the way I'm wired. You just gotta.
Another good point as well about like playing this for the with again the on the God of War subreddit, which I have been part of it since the game came out. You're seeing all the PC players come now and ask like newbie questions, and they're like, "This part of the map, it looks like I can go that way, but the snake's body's in the way." And and people are like,
later.
"Can you go this way?" And we're like, "Patience, boy." That's what we say to them because you just gotta wait.
There's also like I don't know about you boys, but I like to get into stats. It's one of the reasons I loved World of Warcraft when I was younger. And dumb things like, the gems, I forget what they are, but like some stuff has effects, and like I'm the sort of guy that's like, well, what if I put 2 of them? Does that make this thing that's 15%, 30%? Does that work? Oh, they don't stack. Okay, that's something I need to know.
Yeah.
That stuff I like to know. I'm an idiot.
You are a bit of a nerd.
I'm stupid. I would recommend playing a Plague Tale though.
I started it, and the bit that I started with like Hugo and what was the girl's name? Amicia. Yeah, they're such adorable kids. These guys. I liked it. I just didn't go back to it, which was
That's
I don't know
how
why.
I was with Kenna. For you, Tyler, that'd be Kana.
Kinda. That's what you say over there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I speak English, but that's okay.
I mean, we're the ones in England, so I think
It's
you
true.
lecturing us is a little bit. Let's just not touch that one right there. Bro.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to people's favorite segment. Your favorite segment
That's
that we
right.
haven't done in a long time.
And not because we forgot it.
Yes, not because
At
we
least
forgot
one
it.
of these times we just genuinely didn't have time. The other 2 times that we definitely didn't forget, we just chose not to include it. So look, we're on the internet.
What's it
and
called?
I'm getting there.
Oh, sorry. Okay, didn't mean to interrupt you. My
Shit.
apologies. Go ahead. Take it away.
We're on the internet, and we're very, very smart people. This is well documented. And sometimes we'll say things that aren't maybe exactly correct. And if you did want to correct Conbrosations, what you have to do is, when we say something you disagree with, head down to the comment section of this video, and we will read out your comment and shout you out, so you'll get your name read out, and we'll correct Conbrosations. No, we'll read your comment correcting us next time.
Exactly.
There you go.
Our first
One of these
correcting-
days, I'll make a freaking thing so I know what to say.
Yeah. And it will sound slick, and people are like, whoa. What's this slick Conbrosations we're
Right.
talking about here?
This is way off brand.
Runic Firebird writes him first of all, and he says, "Do my ears betray me? Did Sheps not do correcting Conbrosations after he said he would never forget it? Does him forgetting him make him wrong, and in turn becomes correcting for correcting Conbros?"
This is a very good question. These are the questions of our time.
Questions of our time right here. Thank you, Runic Fiber, for keeping us honest here. Thank you for being honest. Some people calling us Sony ponies. That's Sean and Alpha and whatnot, stuff like that. They're good people.
Alpha Quilele.
What can I say here? Oh, so Sean does disagree about the so we're talking about Horizon Forbidden West being cross-gen,
Yeah.
and whatnot. He disagrees with Horizon Forbidden West being cross-gen and that being the fault of like Microsoft's influence on whatnot. And I'll
Yeah.
read out what he says here. He goes, "I gotta disagree with Sheps about Horizon Forbidden West being cross-gen because it was made for the PS4 in the first place, and they decided to do a PS5 version. So I don't think Xbox caused that. But God of War Ragnarok, I agree that should have been that probably was a PS5 exclusive. So yeah,
I want to touch on that because in one way I agree with you. Like, yeah, it was developed for the PS4, but by the time the new console was coming around, they knew full well it was releasing next gen.
it wasn't a surprise.
Right.
They were like, it's gonna come out because it wasn't gonna come out 2020, which was
Right.
the PS4 era.
Exactly.
It was gonna come out 2021, and they got delayed to 2022.
Yeah, that's a
This is
year deep into
PS5
next
Prime-
gen, into new gen, current gen. And so from that perspective, even though it was developed on the PS4, a lot could have been just fully upscaled, and they could have said, oh, now we have all this extra processing power, the SSD, we can do these things.
Yeah.
And
Think
I don't-
about Sheps. Can I ask you a question? And you're going to relate to this a lot. Because you and I are on the same wavelength with what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Uh-oh,
Think
I feel
about
the dig.
not even thinking about the fact that the PS5 is the current gen and Horizon Forbidden West is really going to be built for the PS5. think about buying a PS4 and what it was like having a PS4, a day one PS4, and playing just a PS4 game at the end of the generation. How was Jedi Fallen Order for you, Sheps?
For me, it was dog shit. But,
For me too. For me too. It was fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
And it was like, I get it. The story was amazing, and I heard it ran really well for other people, but I had a day one Xbox One, and it ran like fucking shit. And it was built for that console. It didn't even come out on next gen.
I agree.
And you're talking about, imagine having a day one PS4 and trying to play a Rise of Forbidden West. Have a PS4 Pro and try to play a Rise of Forbidden West. It'll run like shit.
Yeah, it's
going to run like shit.
I fully agree with you. You are preaching to the choir here. The other thing is that, like, you just said, right, remember, think back to when you had, like, a day one PS4, because we were there, midnight, we got the PS4s.
Yeah.
You couldn't play your PS3 games on it.
Yeah.
It's not unusual to have a new console that won't play the old games. Nintendo's done it for every single generation. Well,
and even
-2.
even if it could play the old games, the newer games didn't come out for the old system.
Yeah.
It was a generational leap. It was there was the whole point of generations. We move on. We progress.
And
we
that's
evolve.
okay.
That's fine. Exactly.
Yeah, you couldn't play Knack on your PS3, and why would you want to? Or vice versa, whichever it was.
Yeah.
Like, and why would you want to? And so, I don't think there's anything wrong with the generational games. And yeah, I get it. I'm in the lucky position that I have a PS5.
Yeah.
But if I was still on PS4 and I had this way, because you had a PS5 for like 3 or 4 months before I got mine.
It was actually only a month, but it felt like forever.
Oh my God, was it really?
Because it was the height of PS5.
Also,
it was like, oh,
because
bro.
I was seeing what you were playing, and I was stuck on my... And with my luck, with glitches and stuff. But like, I was still saying, I don't want these games coming to the PS4. One, it won't run it. Like, it won't run... If you're making God of War to run on a day of release PS4, it's going to be shit.
The prime example, the only example you need to shut down this whole argument, Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh my God.
They made that game so it can run on PS4s and Xbox Ones, and then look what happened to it.
Yeah.
If they just dedicated to PCs and next generation consoles, current generation consoles, maybe it wouldn't have been so shit.
Yeah,
maybe this whole franchise wouldn't be dead in the water as it is right now. It's the only argument you need.
Yeah. So
I
take
forgot
your
that
point.
game even existed.
I know.
I forgot
Me too.
Cyberpunk even happened.
Have you played it?
No, I never. I got a review copy like
okay.
like a couple weeks
Big
before it
dick
came
over
out.
Yeah, look at this guy.
Well, you know.
The thing,
big
Cyberpunk's
deal.
actually
but
worse than people
I never
make
actually
out.
played it.
Cyberpunk's actually worse than people make out in terms of its disappointment, because it has some masterful Witcher 3 level stuff in it.
Yeah.
Like, the romances are every bit, maybe even better than like the Yen Geralt stuff.
They're good. There are some issues I find with it. We're not going to get into Cyberpunk talk because that's another thing. But the ending was
disappointing,
nice for me.
but it's and the ending's shit.
Yeah.
But like, it's a good example. Like,
Wait, did you finish Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
and it was hard.
Why?
I'll tell you this. I found it. Well, that's a good question, because this was my overriding take. I think this is a good way to summarize the game. I found it incredibly easy to put down and not come back to for 2 weeks. And then when I played God of War, I could not do, whenever I would like stop it to go and do something, work or school or whatever it was, I don't remember, like it's all I would be thinking about. And I'd be racing home trying to catch red lights, lights before they went red, so I could get home and get an extra 5 minutes on God of War before I had to go to sleep. And I found Cyberpunk incredibly easy to put down. I didn't have that with The Witcher. I didn't have it with The Last of Us 2. I didn't have it with Ghost of Tsushima. It's just easy to put down.
They're heralding this this next gen patch that they're going to do as like to be the savior of it, but it's really hard to believe that it's going to do anything.
Cyberpunk's coming back on PC though. It's still in the top 10.
But the thing is that it runs good on PC. That's what the thing is, right? And especially after the stability patches where they've made tweaks and stuff like that, it runs good on PC.
Don't say things like that. Don't say it was good after the patches.
Well, look, Unity was actually good after the patches,
oh my god.
It runs better.
Yeah.
However, our issue wasn't just the bugs.
I agree.
There was a lot of story issues that we had.
Yeah, soulless is what it is.
Yeah, and pacing and characters and all these kinds of things.
Lack of reasonable customization.
Yeah, and that hasn't changed. So it makes me think that, like, are the PC people, no offense, I'm not trying to really attack you guys here, even though we do that as a joke
Frickin'
all the
idiots.
time. Are they voting it higher because they've got the best version and they want to seem like the PC elitists that they are? Or is it actually that we're missing something here?
No. I think it's a mix of one, they're elitists and they get it. And two,
Because they really cry when a bad port goes to PC.
Yeah, they do. All the time. I think it's that the game's okay. I think PC genuinely is starved for good titles because they all end up back on CS:GO and Minesweeper. So when something somewhat worthwhile and interesting comes out, it's a big deal to them. And I think it plays into their whole, like, the thing about PCs is rarely, even if you buy a PC like pre-made, you're still going to have to do some work on it. Like, there'll be a codec you need to download or refresh something, or drivers or whatever. And I think that feeds into the, like, oh, I'm kind of like a hacker, not hacker, but, you know, like that, the daydream of like being tech savvy and stuff. And
it's like people who do stuff with their hands and people who hire someone to do stuff with their hands. They feel different than what they
exactly. So I think it's just that, but a disappointing game. Anyway, great example of why you shouldn't make stuff for old generation things. And I take your point, Sean. Like, yeah, Horizon was developed for the PS4, but it was no surprise that it would be coming out on the PS5. I think it should have been an exclusive, and it would be a better game for it, even if not much changed. But I mean, I understand the move. Because there's like potentially 100 million consoles that you're.
This is the Jim Ryan influence. We also don't like Jim Ryan as well. We think he's a bit of a cunt and all.
Big cunt.
And he's just all about business and the money side of things without thinking anything else about creativity or advancement. In my opinion, it would have been way better for the brand if they had produced something exponentially amazing because it was dedicated to PS5. But that's just me as a fan over here.
No, I mean, like, there is a timeline where someone walks into Cory Balrog's office and says, I've had this idea since God of War 2018, and you shut me down then because we just didn't have the processing power, but I want to try doing this, and this for this boss fight. And I think because of these architecture changes, we can finally make it work. And that guy, who's been toying with this idea ever since he got into game deving, was told, no, it has to run on a PS4. And that's a made-up scenario. But, like, consider what they did on, like, the tail end of the PS4. You know, like, and they like, God of War was really the mainstream pioneer for the one-shot camera angle. The storytelling through one camera angle. You know, so it changed the game, you know, raised the bar. I think there was definitely the potential, at least, that there would be something like that. I mean, Ratchet & Clank did it with the Portals, right? That something might be different, even only minor, on a PS5 only God of War. And it bugs the shit out of me that we'll never know.
We'll never know.
That's
the worst part about it.
That's all.
That's all the correcting conversations. There are a couple of nice people as well that are saying, like, they're proud of the community. Reese says it about the because last podcast was when it was announced to me that you guys were helping me out with my tool situation. So thank you again so much for that. Happy birthday stuff, because it was my birthday as well last week and whatnot. All that sort of stuff. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are all awesome. Love you so much.
How was your birthday, by the way, Eddie?
Well, the thing is, it's the 32nd birthday. It's getting to the point where it's like, okay, all right, it's not the biggest deal anymore. And also,
well, you're so old, you're having to take dick pills, so it's getting tough for you.
Excuse me, no word of that on the public feeds now.
It's definitely
that's a true fucking story, and I'm not going to have anyone say anything else about it. But
it's definitely starting to feel like I got more sunsets behind me than I have sunrises in front of me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm starting to get old.
It was nice though that it was like, this is my first proper birthday with Isla, and she can, like, react to it properly. She's older now, and she can smile, and she can just, like, her goo goo gagas and, like,
laugh and shit.
And when we get, like, the candles out, she's like, oh my god, it's lights and stuff, and wants to stick her hand in it, and we have to be like, no, don't do that. It was all stuff like that. So it was good on that front, but end of the day, it's just another number and reminding me that I'm getting older and closer to death. There you go. Okay. All right, guys. Let's get on to some hype section of the podcast. Horizon Forbidden West is
like a month away.
Less than a month. It's on the 17th, right? So it's like
3 and a bit weeks.
Yeah, 3 and a bit weeks away. Sony have been pumping out trailers. Specifically after the Activision deal, I guess, to, like, keep attention. It's like, hey guys, we're still doing games over here, whatever it might be. It was hilarious to see that, in my opinion. But the trailers they've come out with are great. There's been a big preview push on some games journalist websites, and I'm super hyped and I want to talk about it.
All right.
How do you guys feel Should we kick it off with Tyler
Yeah,
first?
let's let
Tyler,
go.
how do you feel about Horizon Forbidden West? Talk about it. Go on, give me some hype.
I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn is, in my opinion, a masterpiece. It's in my top 10 favorite games of all time. And it was one of my favorite games of the whole last generation. I absolutely adore Horizon Zero Dawn and have from the second I played it for the first time. And I love the world, I love the gameplay, I love the story, and I love Aloy. And I just couldn't wait for a sequel, and I love they've done everything right. They didn't rush out a sequel a year later or 2 years later or even 3 years later. They waited 5 years, worked hard on developing a new game that mattered, that had purpose, and they've shown that it has a purpose in this latest story trailer. Like, they're not just, here's a new region, let's just go on a new adventure that means nothing. It's clearly following on from what happened. We're seeing returning characters, we're seeing new characters, we're expanding the world, and they've expanded so much of the gameplay. We've seen that, and they're not trying to overbloat a game. They've told us it's about the same length as Horizon Zero Dawn, which was the perfect length of time, 20 to 25 hours. And then I'm sure there's another, 20, 30 hours of trophies and side missions if you want, but you don't have to. You can enjoy it for what it is. And one of my favorite things that that is little, and it's not really worth mentioning in a brief summary here, but I have to because I haven't said it anywhere. The fact that the Shield Weaver armor, which is the Shield end game armor of Horizon Zero Dawn, so many of these sequels and any of these sort of RPGs or action-adventure games, they'll somehow make you get rid of it or never address the fact that you've fully leveled this character. Why am I starting from fucking level 1 or whatever again? And what Horizon Forbidden West has done is like, no, you've still got the shield with armor, but something happens to the power source. So you've just got the aesthetic look to it, but it doesn't have the shield power. So it's just a basic armor piece, but aesthetically it looks the same. So we're continuing on from the story and giving a story reason of why it's only like a basic armor piece, which I love. I've never seen a game explain it off that way.
Very cool.
And then still make it, I can wear it and feel like I'm still the same Aloy that has not only had all the same character development through a story, but all the same actual gameplay development that I've used for the upgrades heading into this game. But now I'm just expanding on it and having to start a few things again. I've just loved the feeling of it. I can't wait to play this game. I think because, again, I haven't really been playing games for the last 12 months, and last year I wasn't playing anything. I've only really been getting into games again for the last month. And this story trailer is the first thing that's really got me hyped and really getting me excited. And it's the perfect time for it because the game's just around the corner. And I realize now's the time. Horizon Forbidden West, I think it's going to be an absolute fucking masterpiece. I think it's going to be as good as Zero Dawn for various different reasons. I don't necessarily maybe think it'll have that mystery and that first time factor that Zero Dawn did. But I think it'll expand on so much that the first game did well and make it even better, that overall it'll be just as good in terms of quality.
There we go. I'm going to quickly read out Diogo's comment. You guys can write in as well to the Patreon, or you can write in our Discord server by clicking the link in the description. Diogo wrote in, he said, super hyped for Horizon Forbidden West. Replaying the story this month got me hyped for all of the remaining mysteries and the plot threads. Hearing that side of content has been improved, has helped to settle my worry about the big epic open world stuff too. Can't wait. Bro, how do you feel about this?
Do you want to say your thing? I assume you're pretty excited.
I am pretty excited. I am damn excited. The parts that I really, really vibed with in the first game was the robot dinosaurs and the robot monsters and whatnot. And they've gotten even more monsters and turned those up to like 11.
Yeah.
When I saw that robot cobra wrap around that rock and then spit venom, I was like, go! That's so fucking cool! Oh my god, the imagination that's gone into that is so great. And then all the other ones, like the velociraptors that they've got and whatnot, it's so cool. And the fact that you've added like even more like depth and levels now, so you can go much higher with the bowcaster string, so you can like pull yourself, grapple stuff up to surfaces. Climbing's been improved, and as well now gliding features directly from Breath of the Wild. Obviously never done it before Breath of the Wild, obviously. And then diving underwater, adding another level of gameplay area and a whole different verticality, and a whole new world to sort of learn, because on land and in the air relatively the same, in underwater completely different, and it's probably going to open up a lot of like side areas for like exploration and lost worlds and things like that. I think it's going to be so cool.
I assumed you were hyped because you spent 200 quid or whatever it is on the
Regular edition,
Yeah.
the Tremor Tusk.
Yeah.
Hey, look, its tusks can move. Okay,
Eddie,
so
you sound like shit, by the way. I've wanted to bring that up the whole show, to be honest. You
Yeah.
sound like shit.
It was a weird thing. It was,
Do you have COVID right now?
no, I think I had COVID with my missus like last week and what.
Yeah,
We got
me
over
too.
that, and then on Saturday and Sunday I went to go help my brother. He's making a new house, I should say, and I went to go help him. And like a fucking dickhead, I worked outside in the cold on a roof with no jacket.
Of course.
And then I'm like,
In
all right,
England in January.
exactly. Like, and I'm like, at the time I was like, I'm a fucking man. I'm working. I'm hot. No worries about it. And then I get home and I'm like,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Also, I mean, so in a similar sense, because I've also been coughing and spluttering, I have had COVID recently, similar time to you, maybe like a week before or something, and I don't sleep, so my immune system is in the gutter. And I know people forget this, but COVID isn't the only illness out there. Like, there's still colds and sniffles and stuff, and I have one of them.
I was gonna say, it's everything isn't COVID anymore. I mean,
Right.
there's other
I mean,
things.
Was COVID rough for you guys?
No.
For me,
Yeah, the
it
Omicron?
wasn't. For me, it wasn't. My missus got it, and she's dying, but I do feel like she has a weaker immune system. From my whole time when I was quarantined with her, there was one day where I was like, "Oh, I've got this headache, and it's just not going away." And then when I woke up the next day, I was fine. But I've been like that with illnesses all the time. I've always been like quick to recover, and things didn't hit me. And also, I'm vaccinated as well, so maybe that helps as well. I don't know.
I had OG COVID, and that was, I mean, I
I had OG COVID.
Yeah.
way back in the day. I'm talking like
The other week. I'm sorry. I was talking about like what just
so
happened.
I'm comparing the two. And so I had the OG 2020 COVID, and
With no vaccine, yeah.
with nothing, and compared the flu, I was worried I was going to die. This thing, it was like a pretty rough cold. It wasn't too bad for me, but again, I'm like 30. And I'd only had 3 months of no sleep at that point versus 2 years. Now, when I got it a couple of weeks ago, it was basically a cold. I had a few more aches and pains than usual. I'm not vaccinated, but I'm just not. And I had a few more aches and pains than usual, but I have a lot of aches and pains. I've got a lot of like persistent injuries and stuff. So all of those reared their ugly heads. Normally I forget about it, but like a hot water bottle on my bad knee and on my back, and I was like fine in a couple of days. It was, for me, it was just like a cold, a sniffle. If it hadn't been for the fact that my chick works in a care home, and is testing regularly, I don't think either of us would have known. And she's vaccinated and I'm not, and our symptoms are basically the same. So, you know, there you go.
Have you had it, Tyler?
Yeah.
I just told you.
Yeah, I had a couple
sorry?
weeks ago.
Okay.
I had
How did
it
you
like a
find
week
it?
and a half ago.
All right.
Yeah, I was fine. I mean, I did my 7 days of isolation.
Yeah.
And then on day 8, when I was outside, I went for a run. I was back training.
There we go.
You know,
Vaccinated?
but I'm a fucking, you know,
or not, or don't care.
yeah.
Oh, you're in Australia. It's kind of like
100%.
not really optional.
Yeah, it's not really optional.
Yeah.
That's true. It's true. It's not really. It is optional, but it's not really optional.
Right, yeah.
Like if you want to go anywhere, you know what I mean. Like you're allowed to go to the grocery store. That's about it. If you're not vaccinated, but you can't go to a restaurant. You can't go to anything or do anything.
Yeah, it's a bit looser here.
But as well, I would have got vaccinated anyway.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't
enough, yeah.
like you know, I have asthma, so I sort of thought it might affect me badly.
Sure.
But then again, I also am a very fit person.
Yeah.
Like I'm very,
And
very
young.
healthy. And I know that doesn't necessarily always
can
make
attest
it
to
the
that.
case, but it certainly gives me a better chance. You know,
Yeah.
I'm 26. I'm very, very fit and very healthy. So I was fine.
Yeah.
Flu is way worse than.
Oh
than
my
that.
God.
For what I dealt with, like I had a flu at this time last year that fucking put me in the dirt compared to, you know. And again, I'm not talking about OG COVID. I'm talking about I'm vaccinated and it's Omicron. Like it was. I didn't even get fever symptoms. I had a tiny sore throat. Like sort of. The only thing I really felt was like disoriented and a bit really cloudy for a few days. Like I worked from home all the way through it, but there was one day where I was just like writing an email and I swear it took me half an hour because I'm like, I don't even know what I'm saying or doing.
Right.
Like it was like that.
Yeah. I gotta say, like, especially for me as well, when I had the flu, I was at my absolute peak. So I was boxing like 3 times a week. I happened to know where I was in the, like, I could have, in terms of like my physical fitness, I was boxing with guys that fought at, like, for European titles. So like, I'm not saying I'm a European level boxer, but like a European, like international level athlete in terms of fitness, and this thing I was worried I was going to die, and I'm not joking. I really thought, like, when I was having it, I was like, wow, this kills people. Didn't have that with COVID or anything like that.
Have you had like pneumonia or anything before?
No. But
I've had
that's no
pneumonia,
joke.
and that put me in the hospital. I was 19 with that, and I was still pretty fit. Not as fit as I am now, but I was relatively. But pneumonia, man, that put me in the hospital, and I thought I was going to fucking die for a minute. There.
Also,
just fucked.
Yeah, some of these things are so like rough on you. Just to be very clear, by the way, for anybody listening, not saying COVID isn't serious, just that our experiences of it weren't too bad. That's all we're saying. And in comparison to other stuff
we're young and healthy people,
right?
So
exactly. Shouldn't be any surprise that
Yeah.
people who are young and healthy and like you both are vaccinated, but I had COVID, so it's functionally the same thing.
Yeah, that's the whole point of the vaccination.
Right, I got the disease. That's why I didn't get it, because I was basically the same thing. I had natural immunity. So, like, it's always going to be different. And again, we're young, even out of shape, we're still relatively fit.
Yeah.
So, like,
not morbidly obese or anything.
Right, exactly. What were we talking about?
We was talking about Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah.
Let me read one comment and then we can get on to how you feel about it. Reese wrote and he goes, "Oh man, I'm so ready to hop into Horizon. I feel like maybe they've shown a bit too much from the game pre-launch, but I'm still hyped regardless. Also, this will be one of the first games I've played on launch in a very long time. So playing through the story spoiler free will be sick." That would be great because you'll be in the conversation with us all and stuff like that. That'd be really cool. Good one, Reese.
Fully agree, and I have stayed away as much as possible from any materials. Like, from my perspective, like, was it 5 months ago they showed that 15-minute clip with Aloy and she goes up against the Tux Tooth and all of that?
Yeah.
For me, that should have been probably the last thing they showed until like a week before with like a minute-long new thing to get everybody hyped. So I stay away from that stuff because I'm always afraid that I'll figure something out or they'll reveal something that they shouldn't have, because sometimes stuff makes into trailers that really shouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry, Sheps. I don't think you're smart enough to figure anything out.
You say that, but like, it's just also I want it all to be fresh. Just logging that burn.
I'm just gonna find out where the nearest burn unit is. Just a second.
Can you get me some aloe vera?
Yeah, aloe vera. Amazon will get it here today. Don't worry.
Oh yeah.
So like.
You just got burned. That was a sick burn.
That was
and you've got to admit that.
It was a sick burn.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I try and stay away from all this stuff, mainly also because I don't want it to be spoiled. So I did see that Cobra thing online, and I remember looking and going, "That looks really good. I wish I hadn't seen it. I wish it caught me by surprise." So I like that.
That would have been a cool fucking robot to see out of nowhere.
Absolutely.
Like, I was expecting all of these cool new things.
We've seen the alligator, we've seen the tusk tooth, but like, what's this? For me, my hype level is at a 3.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's in the gutter. I really couldn't care less at the minute.
What is up with you in Horizon? Why don't you like it? You fucking weirdo.
It bugs the shit out of me.
Before you say that, I'm going to read out one comment from... so James posted this on his Twitter, and it's a comment from someone. It's basically Sheps' alt account. It says...
It's my main account.
This person says, "It is a highly feministic game. I'm not speaking about Aloy. She's totally okay. But every antagonist, plus the head of the corporation which screwed up, are all males. Even Hades has a male voice, while almost all of the good guys are female. Still a wonderful game, just worth noting the regular woke propaganda message. Also, the video is great. Thank you." Talking about James's video.
One thing.
And James was like speechless.
I disagree. Aloy isn't fine. She's shit.
Okay, all right, there we go. So go on, talk about this.
So
you've talked about it before, but with Tyler.
Look, this
is so late. Do we have time for this?
This is not a bit. This is not a bit. I love a lot about Horizon Zero Dawn. The world is gorgeous. The combat's fun. Aloy is stacked to be everything I want, which is like a hot redhead. Like sort of almost Red Sonja type, like amazing. She has no freaking character at all that I could find in her at all.
Here we go.
She has no curiosity, no wonder, and learns nothing throughout the game, as far as I can tell. Now, little bits here and there in like cutscenes, but like she explores this world that is so much larger than her entire life. For her whole life she's been in a village of like 100 people, and the one interesting guy is like Obi-Wan up in the mountains, right? Then people she has no idea exist attack her village, and she's forced out into the world. and explores all of this stuff for the first time, sees all of these robo monsters for the first time, finds out about all this history, and doesn't seem to give it a shit. She's all I need. The worst thing as well is to make this game good is all I need is for Aloy to have some curiosity and a little bit of wonder, like, wow, look at that view. Just even little things like that. And I've never seen so much green. Something like that. Come on, man. And also, like, I actually do somewhat agree with that comment. I think it was poorly worded, but throughout Horizon Zero Dawn, there is this really weird, all the best people are women, all the worst people are men. Throughout the whole way through it, like everything, even little things. And I'm not saying it is a sexist game. I'm saying it feels like it sometimes. And once you get that feeling, you cannot get away from it. So, like, you know, at the very end when she sits on the bench and listens to that audio,
Dr. Elizabeth Sobet.
Yeah, we won't say anything about who she is or any of that. But like, she says something, even down to that little line of like, if I had a kid, I wish it would have been a daughter. And it's like, all the way through the game to the very last moment, everybody incompetent is male, everybody competent is female, and then the last thing she says is I never had kids, but if I did, I would have wanted a daughter. And like, I just cannot get away from this weird man hate. Like, there's kind of a love interest in that the black lad whose name I forget. He was kind of interesting. And he gets immediately cucked, and he's completely useless. But his mum's this awesome general. It's very weird, and once you get that vibe, and I'm not saying it's actually there, I'm saying that I felt it.
Finish what you're saying, because I've got something to go with your thing.
And all I need is just for Aloy to have a little bit more curiosity, to grow and want to experience something new, and then she works, and then for the game to realize that every villain doesn't have to be a dude, you know. And then we're there, and that's one of the reasons I hate the games. I hate Horizon Zero Dawn so much, is because it was so close to being really good. It's got so much that I love. I love that post-apocalyptic feel with like the skyscrapers all covered in moss at the very Last of Us 2. Like, I love that feel. The dinosaurs are incredible. Like, the visuals are stunning. Going up those the long tall necks, whatever they were, was amazing. Aloy's a hot redhead.
I'm really struggling here. I'm struggling. You know, I've been literally punching my head against the fucking wall, letting you go on.
I believe you.
Let me add him, Eddie. Let me fucking add him, bro.
Tyler, go.
It's rubbish. It's absolute fucking rubbish. This cunt's been talking for the last 5 minutes.
It's not
nonsense.
And for the record, I played all the way through that game. I played all the way through that game. Like, I got all the end arm and all that shit, because that's how I play games. If I'm gonna finish it, I'm gonna go through all the side content, because I get distracted. But I could not get away from that.
I could hear the smacking in the background.
I could not get away from that, like, weird, and it's fairly subtle to some extent. Sort of not man hating, because I'm not saying this is like some worst of the worst YouTube clips, feminist writing the stuff, but like
the two main.
Go on, bro. No, say it.
Go on. This is your time.
No. So like, you're gonna say.
You're talking about like.
Go.
What was he gonna say?
I'm guessing you're gonna say about there's two male figures like that help her out, right? There's the Obi-Wan at the beginning, and that guy with the
mustache.
But we're talking about in Forbidden West. The only two characters that are
we don't know anything about Forbidden West. You have no idea who they are. I mean, I don't, especially because I've stayed away from any of the story reveal, right? Because I want everything to be a surprise. I'll tell you this.
Okay. You haven't seen the story trailer.
I stay away from everything. I'm just talking about everything. All of my opinions there were just about Zero Dawn and why I didn't like Zero Dawn, which was very frustrating. Forbidden West looks gorgeous, but the look was never the problem.
You said all the bad guys are male and all the good guys are female.
In Zero Dawn, yeah.
But that's not true.
Yeah,
that's just
much.
Not true.
Yeah,
that's not true.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about like your like average, human enemies. I'm talking like within the story, all the forces that move the story and move the world, and like the named characters. Anybody in a negative light or incompetent, almost every single one is male, and everybody that's competent and really made something out of nothing is female. It's just
okay. That's a load of rubbish, because I would say that most of the characters, full stop, are male. There's not that many just because you play as a female.
Sure.
And Elizabeth, and the spoilers for Zero Dawn, she's a clone of her, so they're the same person.
Sure. Well,
so
spoilers, Jesus Christ.
They're different characters.
Yeah.
I literally said spoilers before I said it.
Oh, did you?
I
I
said
didn't hear that.
spoilers.
Cool.
Yeah, I said
Then
spoilers.
it's all fine.
No, so you've got all these other, I mean, Silence is your main ally. Yeah, he becomes a villain, but he's the most such an intriguing character, and you don't really know whether he's fully good or fully bad.
Sure.
He's male. Rost, good guy. Val, good guy. Cast, good guy. Nil, good guy. Aaron, good guy. Ted,
I'm not
good guy.
saying-
You've got all
So you're-
these male good guys. Then that's most
they
of the
don't
side
move.
characters.
They don't move the story.
That
That's
is
the thing.
most
They're-
of the
they're
side
side
characters.
characters.
They're side characters. They
side
don't move the
characters.
story at all. In the big movers, in the
Ross moves the story. Silence moves the
does.
story.
Ross does.
Aaron moves the
Ross
story.
does. Ross does. And what is his character? He's a lone guy that's basically ostracized from the village. Who
He's
takes
her
in this
father.
one.
He's her only parental figure.
I
Because
know.
she doesn't know who she is.
who
And
she
you're
is
sitting there.
easily-
You're
Bruh.
sitting there talking about Aloy's character like she's not curious and she has no
She's
character.
not.
The story is about her finding her own identity. The
Yeah,
whole
but
point of
she's
it
not
is
curious.
No. Let me finish. Let me fucking finish. You're saying she's not curious.
Here we go,
The whole
boys.
point of the story is to discover who she is. She is curious. The premise of the game is I don't know who I am, Ross. I don't want to be a loner.
Yeah.
I want to find my place.
Yeah.
What do you call that?
Okay.
If not curious, you can't.
She's not wowed by it.
She's
That's
not.
the-
Yeah. So look. Here's the thing. So, like you said, a couple of points.
She's not curious about things you want her to be curious about.
No,
Just say that.
No,
Just
she's
say
not.
that.
She's not.
Just
She's
say
not.
what you
She's
mean,
not.
bro.
She's not. And you're a
Say it from the
simpleton.
chest.
You're a
Say it from the
simpleton who
chest,
doesn't
bro.
understand storytelling. Let me explain it to you. When I was saying about
Here we
like,
go.
so look, I'll give you another example. The Last of Us 2. There's plenty of male characters.
You're a
in
guy
that.
that doesn't like Lord of the Rings. What the fuck do you know
Yeah,
about
'cause I like
storytelling and
good
world-building,
stories.
bro?
Proof, he's great.
Oh,
So look,
Zack Snyder's Justice
Yeah.
League,
greatest,
you dumb
There we go.
fuck.
the greatest. So look.
The
What I was-
worst movie all time, and it was voted
Listen,
the biggest
when you
blunder of
when
the
you
year, and as
cherry
always
pick-
last year.
Yeah, by nobodies. Yeah, when you cherry pick bits of the story and say, look at all these male characters, it looks like you can build a good argument,
By
but you
cherry
can't.
pick, that's
You
the
can't.
cast.
You can't.
Name the females.
Hold
Name
on,
the females
hold on,
other than the
hold on.
main
But this
character
is
we're
the
playing
point,
as.
though. They're in weird
Do you know
positions.
what? Why do you hate women? Why do you hate women? so
Because
much?
they don't sell,
They don't-
and it's well documented.
They don't sell video games, that's why.
So, but like,
And we're gamers, we hate
yeah,
women.
and it is one of those things because I do feel like, and I'm not saying that. To be very clear, anyone that enjoyed it, I'm really glad for them because I wanted to love Zero Dawn. And
Don't say you're glad for us like you
no,
fucking
no,
above us.
no,
you
no.
hide
I
like
don't
you're
mean
floating
I
above the
really-
rest of us.
kids,
Shut
You
your
fuck.
fucking mouth, Tyler. Like I really don't mean. Really don't mean that I'm superior. Like I wish I could have loved it the way because I want to, you know. And I really feel like I'm not being ridiculous about this. Like I loved The Last of Us and Last of Us 2, and that's full of female leads. I feel like they're done properly. And my beef with Zero Dawn is that the things that shape the world to get where we are, like I assume if you guys are like me, you found like every single audio clip and listened to all the stuff from way back in the day, like all the board meetings. Like everybody that fucks up the world is male, right? And yeah, Ross is a father figure to Aloy, who she immediately deals with out as soon as he's out the picture. Almost, I think there's one callback to him, one. And he again is a loner, almost as ostracized from the village as Aloy. He's taken out. He does the heroic sacrifice, which is, you know, kind of a trope, and then is basically immediately forgotten. And then, like, there's just, that's just a sense that I got. I think it's easily fixed for Forbidden West. I think, like, for example, with the curiosity, because I get what you're saying, like, it's a journey, right? Luke Skywalker in A New Hope, he has no curiosity either, really. He just blindly believes what Obi-Wan says.
Yeah.
Like, she goes out into the world to find out who she is, but at no point when she sees all of these brand new machines and finds out all about this world, at no point does she show any wonder. Like, I want her to, the very first thing I want from Forbidden West is for her to walk out of this forest onto a cliff and see that gorgeous clear water that she's never seen before, looks like it's barley or something, and go, oh my god, I didn't know there could be so much green in the world. Something like that, for real. Like, I need to see her.
That's such a weird fucking specific.
I get it, but like
when
she shows
when
me-
her character is built around like
Well, she's a hyper genius.
She's no the whole she is, but the whole point of her character as well as like one which is so masterfully done is one she's her own character, but also is such a great conduit for the player that doesn't understand much of this world is that because she doesn't fit in anywhere, she actually fits in everywhere.
She's a great bridge in that sense.
That's
I get
the
it.
point of Aloy. That's the point of her, is because she meets all these different tribes, all these different people, but to her, everyone's the same. There is no tribalism. That's the whole purpose of what she's trying to say. Like, there is no tribalism because she's never been wanted anywhere, and she's just wanted to find her place. So to her, everyone is just whoever. She doesn't have preconceived ideas. She takes people as they come. That's the beauty of her character, and that's whenever she meets, no matter what tribe she goes to, whenever she meets people, her first instinct is to be good and help them.
Sure.
And they have to prove to her that they don't deserve to be helped for her to turn against them or to not want to help them.
Except
that's her character.
Except because different people have different practices, where is Aloy finding something new and something different that's good and going, that's really cool. Oh, I've never seen that done before. We don't get anything like that. We don't get any sense that she's experiencing anything for the first time. She's just because
she's so driven on her journey to discover herself, because she's on a mission. The whole game she's on a mission.
She's not human.
Yeah.
And
well, she's not like them. That's the whole point.
Get it.
She's not like any of these people.
But she's not human. Kratos is more human than she is.
That's such rubbish.
That's my vibe. That's my vibe. Anyway,
let me tell you some of the things that it's basically. When I played the game, I had a little bit of the feeling that Sheps had in terms of she didn't have as much wonder as I would have if I would see a robot T-Rex just pop up in front of me, or whatever it might be, or something like that, or a brand new structure, or finding out about Gaia for the first time, or whatever it might be.
Don't defend my position if you don't agree, by the way. Don't just stick up for
I did feel like this, but I enjoyed the game, and
you loved it way more than me.
Sometimes the way that I play, I go and experience it and try not to make anything up so much. Just let the story be told to me, and then afterwards think about it. And afterwards, Sheps did mention about how there are a majority of male characters that are the reason for everything going bad, and the majority of the good people are females. I was like, do you know what? I do see that. However, I feel like the game doesn't do it in a way where it's man-hating or female praising, and you've said that as well, and that's why I didn't find so much of a problem with it. I was like, it just happens to be that they've made these characters, and in my opinion, they made the characters like Elizabeth Sobert. She was a genius. That's you can make that character. That's fine. And when they made the whole Mother's Embrace, they called it, which is the Mother's Cradle, the place where they stay, and all of these women are the ones that are like talk to the mountain and things like that. They called it
the Mother's Cradle. Huh? No.
I was like, that's more like of an ideology thing. Like a mother does give birth to life, and I was like that. So there was always reasons for it, in my opinion. Granted,
it's a matriarchal tribe, but then the main, most advanced civilization has a king, a sun king.
And what is that culture? Brutal, barbaric, live somewhere you wouldn't want to live in the middle of the desert. Are you kidding? The whole point is you go and fight in the Colosseum. Yeah, they're totally brutal. Absolutely. And he's a tyrant.
No. You're talking about a completely different tribe than what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Meridian. The King of Meridian. I feel like that's the city you defend at the end of the game.
I'm not going to say anything.
Maybe I got it wrong. Yeah, maybe.
He's a good guy. That's they're different tribes.
And look again.
No, not maybe. Not maybe.
No, you might be right. I was specifically.
You're wrong, Tyler.
Fight in the Colosseum. But like again,
the most advanced. That's an enemy tribe. Yeah, but the most advanced civilization that we see in Zero Dawn has a male king, and he's a good guy.
I'm with you. I'm not saying that there are no good male figures in the game.
Well, you did say that, though.
No, I'm saying every single dude.
I was right here, and you said it's all good females and all males are negative.
I mean,
you said that.
Yeah, you said those exact words.
Fine, to expand, like everything that moves the world, right? So, like, he's a good guy, and they're the most technology advanced, but they don't move the world at all. They don't create the story. They don't create the canon.
That's not true.
It's bullshit. That's not anyway, Forbidden West is. It would be very easy to completely reverse my opinion on Zero Dawn on Forbidden West. the visuals, seriously, the visuals are everything I want. The setting is everything I want. Aloy is stacked to be my perfect woman, like basically Triss.
Yeah.
And intelligent, and goes out on this.
Fan,
shut the fuck up! I'm not saying there's anything wrong with
talking
Yen.
Down to like you're some scum of the earth, so you would be a
the
fucking Triss fan, wouldn't you?
But like, I got a thing for redheads. You know, if she gets an afro, I'll be just simping. Anyway, like, it wouldn't be hard to make Aloy perfect. and not have those, like, I just need her to show some wonder at some random stuff. That's really it. But my hype level for the game is basically, it's in the gutter because of Zero Dawn. And what you said about, you play things and get the impression. That's how I watch movies. I go and watch it once and just sit there and see and enjoy it. And then I go and watch it a second time and like, not take notes, but like I really analyze stuff.
Yeah.
I only played Horizon Zero Dawn once and I got that much of a negative impression. To me, it sounds like it's fairly loud. At least I was really susceptible to that side of the message. And I'm not saying it's really there. I'm saying that's what I felt from the game, which is kind of unusual because I don't really get that from any other games. I get it from The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
Which would have been the perfect example of the like quote unquote SJW agenda.
That was the worst part because I was not worried, but I was like, when it came out that people were saying, oh, it's covered with all kinds of woke culture nonsense propaganda. I was like, have they gone and ruined this game because they're trying to fit an agenda rather than making a good Last of Us game? Turns out that was complete and utter nonsense, and we both played the game and both said it was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That's
I appreciate, like, I'm very much in the minority for this, and I definitely think it's a me issue. I'm not saying that like I've hallucinated it, but most people didn't get that sense from the game, and I do think there's only a couple of little tweaks they need to make Forbidden West really good. However, I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to wait to see what you think about it, and then I'm going to borrow your disc, and if it is good, I will then buy it.
Yeah, because
I'm happy to buy stuff that I like. It bugs me that they were so close to perfection, because they really were. And like, and I can be honest about this stuff. Like, I know I talk about Ghost of Tsushima and Simpit a lot, but the story fucking sucks. The story is not very good. It's not very compelling. The end boss fight sucks. Like, there's a lot of stuff that isn't great in
it takes a while for that story to pick up.
Oh my god,
it takes
so
a while
long.
for that story to pick up.
It really does. But like, which is the total opposite of Horizon Zero Dawn. I just didn't like the way it developed, and I really wish that the story would just be a little bit. First of all, I want it more about Aloy. I want more of a human story.
We do have some breaking news right now that happened in the last 5 minutes. Just some breaking news.
I don't believe this guy for 1 minute.
This is, and I'm going to... no, it actually is from Gorilla, who said, we have some exciting news for you all. Horizon Forbidden West has gone gold.
Oh, lovely
bubbly.
Minutes,
5 minutes ago.
That's really
They
good.
tweeted that. So
this
Forbidden West is now gold.
I don't hate the game. I want to love it. I really want to love it. Weirdly, I'm actually more excited for Elden Ring.
That's a weird one because you're not a Souls fan, you're not a roguelite fan, you're nothing.
Yeah, I hate the idea of roguelites. I've never played a Souls game.
You're so weird. You're such a weird person.
It's only in this one instance. Everywhere else, I think I line up pretty well. I just got this weird vibe from Zero Dawn, and it was so close. Like, Aloy's kind of an android to me. It's just kind of robotic, and I just need a little bit of wonder and like an innocence of like a girl seeing something for the first time in a world that's so big.
I don't understand how you're seeing a robot from the performance that was given.
She's great. Character. Like, the voice actress is brilliant. Like, there's so much right. It's just like the writing that's off. I just don't get a human feel from Aloy.
Look, Tyler, we need to end this conversation now because it's going to go on forever otherwise.
Let me summarize.
I think he just hates women. I think that's that.
I was just going to say that.
Just to be clear, I absolutely hate women, specifically because of their genitals, and therefore they aren't people.
There you go.
There's only one gender. Women are objects. We know this is objectively true. To summarize, to summarize my feelings on Aloy, I do genuinely think, from my feeling of Aloy, had at the end Aloy's skin like melted away and there was like a Cylon underneath, that I wouldn't have been surprised.
You'd be like, okay, I get it now.
All right.
Makes sense.
And I'm not trying to be inflammatory. I'm just saying, like, I didn't get a very human feel from Aloy. Not always. Like, there are some good interactions, but like, there were a lot of things that didn't make sense to me. I didn't feel were done very well, and there is that weird feel that I got the man-hating thing, but not man-hating, just everybody that really shapes the world.
Yeah.
I don't know, it bugged me. That's it.
Look, all of this is a moot point anyway, because none of us should buy Horizon Forbidden West.
I agree.
Because as we've seen on Twitter, Guerrilla are just reusing animations from the first
right.
game, which means that this game is not worth $70. Sony are scamming us all, and we're all here with boycott Horizon Forbidden West. One, because of the animations, but two, because it's women. You know,
exactly. I mean, look, she have figured out a way to leap off an enormous cliff, catch a sling on a stump or something, and scale an otherwise insurmountable object. Of course, she's figured out 50 different ways to do that safely, right?
She needs to do a flip one time. She needs to do a backwards curl.
This is the most ridiculous freaking thing.
Through the legs.
The fact that this comes up, and the same with the God of War boat animation. And the worst offenders in that stuff are the experts. Like, oh my god, they expect you to pay for this? Like, this is how games are made. What are you talking about?
I love that that's their argument. That's their argument, isn't it? It's just copy and paste.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Anyway, yeah, we shouldn't be buying it. No one buy it. I'm refunding my regular edition, and I'm going to be pirating it because I'll be playing it on PC whenever it comes out.
I really hope it's good. Oh my god, I want it to be so good, and it's so perfect. Like the Robo Dinos, but also tropical setting with like the bright colors. Yeah, I want it to be great.
I think it's going to be good. I've got a good feeling about this one. Okay. Let's quickly wrap up with the final little bits of topic. So, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, I have to say that, says that he'll be doing another video game movie where, and he quote, this is what he says: "We're going to bring one of the biggest, most badass games to the screen that I've ever played for years." What game do you think he's talking about?
He isn't, because I don't believe for a second that he plays any video games.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, he just doesn't have the time.
Well, he might.
Any other.
He might be. He says here the biggest, most badass game ever to come to screen. I think it's clear what game he's talking about.
WWE.
Well, if there's anything we know about Dwayne Johnson is he's a fucking liar. Like, he's
a face. That's what he is.
Liar. And I love The Rock, but he's such a liar. Like, he's such a bullshitter. The shit he talks, like when he gets on shit, he's just like, I was up at this time doing this. I'm like, no, you weren't, you cunt.
And
no, you fucking weren't. I bet you're all natural too. I bet you
he's
don't.
Natty, baby. And that plays into what I think movie he's gonna play. Among Us. Full of lies. That's what we're going to get an Among Us movie, lads. That's it. Here we go. Clearly talking about that.
Among Us. I've seen a lot of photoshops of him as like Kratos. Please God, no. For a couple of reasons. One, I like The Rock. I like his movies. I'm a fan. He's not a very good actor. He's got way better, but he's not very good. He always plays The Rock in.
Yes.
You know, and if you notice, every single movie is an excuse to get him into that same Jungle Explorer outfit. You know, he has a look that he sticks to, which is fine, but like, please, it's just not the right. For the record, my pick, if you're going to make a movie, is you get Christopher Judge.
Yeah, why not Christopher Judge?
You know, I mean you have to be in whiteface, but other than that, like,
a little borderline.
But that's canon. Like, he's covered in the ashes of his family. Like, so it's fine. Yeah. You have to work out how you got like Christopher Judge in Sparta, but actually that's fairly close to Africa anyway, so it's easily done.
The only issue with the Christopher Judge is that I don't know if anyone follows him personality.
60 or something.
Yeah, he had both of his hips replaced recently, so the guy's probably not in prime shape to be playing.
I love Christopher Judge, man.
I love him. He's great, fantastic. What movie do you think God of War is the only like closest thing?
It can't be.
Tyler, do you have any ideas?
It's not going to be a good game. Like, it'll be like a multiplayer widespread. It'll be like, honestly, it'll be a joke. Call of Duty, it'll somehow. I was going to say, like, it'll be like Fortnite. Or
he'll be doing the floss.
Shit.
No.
Oh shit!
Like
Doom.
That will be
yes, boys.
I was going to say, I was like,
Doom.
I think I actually do think it might be like,
It'll be Doom, and I'll tell you what my pick was going to be, what I think it will be. He's greatly overstating how badass it is or how like important it is. Gears of War.
Do you know what? I could totally see him as like a Dom Phoenix or something.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if it's Gears of War, it's going to be the previous Doom movie. It's going to come out. It's going to be mediocre. It's going to have some action scenes, and then see you later. Goodbye.
It's a Rock movie. It's going to be mediocre.
Yeah, exactly.
You can just start with that.
I'll tell you what. I unironically enjoyed Doom 2005 or whatever.
There's some
it's
decent
not
bits to
good,
it. Yeah,
but
yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Very clear distinctions.
They're like, they try to explain the whole Doom thing.
Never
They're like,
explain
they're
any
like,
of it.
The 23rd pairs of chromosomes, or 24 pairs of chromosomes. Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
And then they, like, if we inject it
Stupid.
into the person who's angry, then they turn into a monster.
Right.
If we inject it into a good-hearted person,
Yeah,
like
it's
Carl
dumb.
Urban, then
Right.
suddenly it becomes great. You're a superhuman.
But I would be okay with it. Like, just make it a better movie, a little bit better. It doesn't. I'm also okay if it's trash. Like, I kind of dig trash.
Yeah, every now and again, some good trash is alright.
Right. So that might make sense. Although he said it's been a game he's played for years, so I think Gears of War is probably closer because that would have been the only time he had the time, like 10 years ago.
I think it is Gears of War because recently, so he was there with the original Xbox launch,
Yeah.
and recently with the Xbox Series X, he did a big old promotion
Yeah.
with them and whatnot. And I think this is another form of promotion where it's like, it's a game that I've played for years. It's like, sure you have,
Yeah.
and it's just going to be an Xbox game, and then people are going to be like, oh, cool. No
I
worries.
wonder how they'll work Kevin Hart into Gears of War.
They'll have to, right? I mean, those two never do anything other than work together.
Right.
I'm wondering how they're going to work Kevin Hart into Black Adam. That's how they're going to do that.
I'm
Anyway.
actually really hyped for that.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Black Adam looks quite good.
I enjoyed the Shazam movie a lot more than
I
most.
don't like the shit talk that he's giving Superman though. He's like, oh, the new hierarchy of powers. Like, get the fuck
That's
out.
not gonna work.
Exactly. Just to tell you what everyone else is saying and whatnot in the chat in our Discord server.
Yeah, but I don't care about that. So let's wrap this shit up. Patreon.com/, as always.
What time is it there for you, Tyler?
What's that?
What time is it there for you?
It is
Time to
11:15.
shut up. What does the Discord have to say?
The Discord has to say, Diogo says The Rock is going to be in Fortnite movie, of course.
Oh, God.
Fantastic.
I got to
there.
get up at 5:30 a.m.
Oh shit! All right, we'll make this quick then. Make this quick.
And
People are asking how you're doing. I'm just
like,
gonna tell
don't
them
pretend
awful.
you care about my sleep schedule. You fuck.
We
I
don't.
really don't.
Eddie?
Really don't. No, I don't. I
You
don't.
calling me in the middle of the night more than once?
Yes.
Oh boy, the Rock and Fortnite collaboration. Everyone thinks it's going to be Fortnite, which is
God.
just terrible.
I hope not.
Sean does say God of War movie, but I'm going to lose my shit because that's just awful. Okay, that's
Final nail in the
100%
coffin of Halo. He plays Master Chef.
ooh, Master Chef. There we go. Yeah, and then there's only one other thing. Apparently, EA and Lucasfilm have worked out that there's going to be 3 new Star Wars games coming out. One of them is
that's right,
Jedi Fallen Order sequel. One of them is an FPS game, and another one is a strategy title from the makers of
On top of KOTOR.
On top of KOTOR. So these are completely
Okay.
separate from them, which is, and the funny thing is, it's all being made by Respawn Entertainment. Respawn Entertainment are like pulling the boat for EA.
Yeah.
So that's something.
Or they're like, they just decided they're going to be their Insomniac.
There you go. Tyler, we do have one sec. So let me just pull this link up right here. Our bros on Patreon. Okay, so Joe McCormack asked this question. This is our Patreon comment, so we have to read it here. Joe McCormack says, "Hey bros, hope you're all good. Just wondering what your thoughts are on a Jedi Fallen Order sequel. I'm really interested to see what the direction they have gone down, but can't help feeling like it would have worked well as a standalone story. Hopefully Cal doesn't forget how to double jump in this one again." And I agree with him. I feel like it was a standalone story. I don't know why they needed to go for another one.
Yeah, I agree. Tyler, what are your thoughts on Jedi Fallen Order 2?
I mean, I really enjoyed the first game, a lot of it, like the story. I really liked the vibe. It felt like you're playing a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
It was buggy as fuck for me because I played on day one Xbox One, so
Yeah.
I would like it to run well. Here's the problem with it, though, is that Cameron Monaghan, I believe, retired from acting.
No
and is
way.
in politics now.
What?
Yeah.
That's a jump. That's
Is
a
that
leap
real?
right there.
Yeah. Like a year ago.
I will say, I just didn't vibe
I
with
think so. Let me double check.
Yeah, it's Google.
Yeah, he's retired from acting and he's gone into politics. Yeah.
My big thing
weird.
with it, and maybe they'll change it, so it'll be Jedi Fallen Order and it'll tell a different story, which could also work, I suppose. Like, I don't really care for another Cal installment. Cal Kestis was okay, but I didn't feel like really super deeply invested in him. And I think that's also the storytelling of the game. Like, if you forget how to double jump and all that stuff, like, it's just cheap, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was good fun.
I'm looking at an article here that says Cameron Monaghan wants out of Jedi Fallen Order 2, which is mind-boggling. I didn't know this was going on. I'm completely out of the loop of this one. I think there's a lot more story there, especially. Anyway, that's madness.
Also,
What are they going to do?
Oh my god, guys! Oh, guys, I'm embarrassed.
What's going on?
Embarrassed.
What?
So when I saw that post, it was when he posted it. I've gone back to it and he's edited the post, and it was an April Fool's joke.
Oh, there we go.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'm
Well,
embarrassed. That's super embarrassing.
That is quite embarrassing.
That's
You are an
pretty
idiot.
embarrassing, yeah.
This one's on the 13th of January this
Yeah.
year, so I don't know what that's
So
about.
I mean, look, I'm not invested in the Cal story. I also felt like Jedi Fallen Order promised us this. What did they call it? Creative combat or
thoughtful combat.
Thoughtful combat. And the combat was fun and it felt like a Star Wars game, but it didn't have that like level of creativity to it that I didn't find. I'm sure like some of those guys that make incredible GIFs on Twitter will have versions of it, but I found that you like ended up finding a couple of abilities that worked really good against certain enemies and you just used those.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. And then one final question for you, Tyler. This is from Diego. Says, what are your tips for getting muscle, but also losing fat whilst playing video games?
There you go.
In the words of the great Tom Segura, if you look yourself in the mirror and say, I hate myself, you're not ready. So I would say none of you are ready for that advice.
Wise.
That's
Wise.
what I would say to that.
I mean, I'll say it's good advice. Just to testing yourself is good for motivating you to get into shape.
I
But
hate myself.
It'll be very interesting how you do it while gaming. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, let us know how you manage that.
Dick push-ups.
There we go.
There you go.
And take the pills to help out with it. And
It's
then
true.
it goes
And
on
also,
with
let's
it.
be honest, if you're a gamer, it's only use your dick's going to get. So, like, why not put it to work?
It's a great point.
All right, guys, that is everything. Thank you all for joining us for this episode of True Game Podcast. Hope it was good. I felt like it was a very good one, actually.
Yeah.
A lot of good discussion and
We kept it
arguments.
under
and
3
whatnot.
hours
We kept it under
for
3
once.
hours, which is good. Thank you, Tyler, for taking the time out of your day and for
Nice.
doing nothing and whatnot and coming to chat with us. It's been really fun talking about gaming for once. Normally we just talk about nonsense, but it was quite good gaming this time.
Yeah, all of what was going
It
on
was.
2021 nonsense, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you offered me the other podcast, and I thought, well, I feel like we haven't just sat down and talked about games for a long time, so
Yeah.
I feel like we need to divvy it up a bit, other than me just absolutely tearing you guys apart and pounding into the earth.
I want to get James on the podcast, but do you know what? I don't know. I don't know.
Good
if
luck
it's,
with that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just he doesn't want to go on podcast because that's one thing we know about him, or if he just doesn't want to talk gaming with me specifically because I know I can get spicy sometimes, and I don't know if he wants to. And he's
I
not.
just said that
I don't know. I feel like
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Sheps would have made him madder today.
He got-
Sheps
That
made
would
him
be
mad.
good. I want to hear James.
we need to
angry
get him
about
on
stuff.
now.
Yeah,
We need to get him on now. I feel like James doesn't really oppose people that often.
Yeah,
he
he's
might
very go
oppose
with the flow,
James.
yeah.
So he might oppose Tyler because he's
Tyler's a
comfortable with
fucking
him.
idiot, yeah.
Exactly, and there's a lot to fucking oppose him with.
Yeah.
But with newish people or people that he's not always interacting with, he might be like, I'm not going to say anything. And could you imagine saying all that Horizon Forbidden West stuff?
James is funny how polite he can be.
Yeah.
Or bite his tongue
Yeah,
to
yeah.
people because he doesn't want to have that conversation. But with me or like George, he'll fucking have a big yarn to
Yeah.
us about it. Oh, what the fuck? But it's good.
That's
Yeah,
great.
we should get him
That's what the Four Pillars podcast is great for right there. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. We'll catch you all next week. Thank you all for the support you guys give us everywhere. Head over to Patreon. This is the last thing we're mentioning. It's a bad place. But it's the last week to get
As always, thank you so much for the support.
It's the last week to get the Dad of War game cover for the PS5. If you want to get that, head over to Patreon. You got the details over there. Check it out. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
Bro, thank you for joining me, Sheps, and thank you, Tyler, for joining
Yeah.
us. We'll catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.
See you guys.
I was doing awkward stuff, and then you did the weight, like you the
Yeah,
wax on, wax off, and I just copied it.
Mr. Miyagi, I was
Yeah,
doing.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I was doing right
Fucking
there.
idiot.
Strange. I don't know. We're known for doing strange things. All right.
Thanks for joining us, T.